What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5. We are back with another absolute banger this evening. It's Sinister5 versus Royalty Esports, a rematch from what we had in the group stage. I'm joined by Nick on this fine Friday evening. How are you doing, my good man?
Look, there's nothing more than each of us like, us big introverts always indoors, than a Friday night watching CS, right? I mean, I'm so excited to jump into it. I mean, there's so many storylines which we're definitely going to dive into in the build-up to the game, but I'm probably more excited than you are. I'm saying it right now. I'm so excited to jump into this game.
You're never wrong, so I mean, I'm
yeah, exactly. As I said last night, reverse sweep from Royalty that you saw, I said that was going to happen to I'm never wrong. Never wrong.
Okay,
easy peasy.
We'll be holding you to your word tonight, Nick, as the players begin connecting to the server so that they can sort the veto out. So yeah, Friday evening, we have a lower bracket match tonight. As I said, Sinister5 versus Royalty. It's a rematch. These two teams played against each other in the group stage. They were in the same group. Sinister5 actually lost out 2-0 to Royalty, and it was like a really dominating performance as well. Royalty beat them 16-8, 16-9 on Dust and Nuke respectively, so it was like super one-sided from them. But coming into this game tonight, Nick, I'm definitely expecting to see a more closely contested affair.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, over in the group stages, we saw best of two format, which those of you who don't know, you have two ban phases before a pick phase. So usually in a best of twos, you're not actually playing the other team's best map, but usually the second best. So maybe in that sort of stance, we're seeing Sinister5 possibly actually, in my mind, without a doubt, possibly getting a map here. I think they're probably going to pick Overpass or Train into this encounter, and I don't see a way in which Royalty can take that sort of a map off
Got you.
against them. But I agree 100%. I think it is definitely going to be a more closely contested game. But with that being said, will it be a Sinister 5 2-0 or something along those lines? We'll have to wait for the future for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the maps, right? And it's something that you and I were discussing before we actually went live. We were saying how, again, we've got quite an overlap in the map pool here between these two teams. We know that both of the teams really enjoy playing Nuke and also both enjoy Inferno. So all of a sudden there's an overlap there already. They also both enjoy Dust. I think their map pool slightly favors Sinister5 than it actually does Royalty, which is ironic because Royalty beat them 2-0 in the group stage. But I feel like Sinister5 are certainly... that was a bit of a shock result for them. I remember we even spoke to Deviant in that Just Chatting panel, and he had said it was a bit of a surprising result for them as well. So, yeah, tonight should definitely be more closely contested. I've got no doubt about that. Would not be surprised at all if we had the full 3 maps once again, as we've actually had for the past 2 nights in a row. I do have a few interviews tonight, which I think I'm going to be playing shortly. The first one is with Doobie, and the other one's with the Elusive. Of course, I recorded these interviews a few days ago before they played their matches, but the content in these interviews is still incredibly relevant because they talk about their group stage run, they talk about their run through this bracket, and then they talk about their goals at large in the event. So, point being, they definitely still have a few nuggets of relevant information. So I'm going to bring one of those on shortly because these guys haven't got the veto done just yet. So yeah, let's actually just go straight in, Nick. Let's hear what Doobie had to say about their run here in the Telkom VS Gaming Masters so far. Doobie, looking back on the group stage, you guys ended up placing top 4 in your group, so you were seeded into the winners bracket. How did you feel about your performance in that run?
I feel like our performance was. We had our ups and downs. We beat teams that we expected to beat, and also lost to teams that we didn't expect to lose to.
Okay.
Had a couple of unexpected draws, so we still finished top 4, but we were expecting to finish a little bit higher than 4th.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at your results now, and you mentioned there were a few games that you probably didn't expect to drop points in. You lost 2-0 to Online Kingdom, probably didn't help your guys' cause too much. And then also the draws against Critical 5 and Nibble, but those are both respectable opposition as well, so it's not like those were walkover games by any stretch.
Yeah, I guess so. The number one especially was like a competitive game, but
Yeah.
I feel like we could have definitely toured that Critical 5
Okay,
game.
cool.
But it is what it is,
I mean, you also got the 2-0 over Sinister5, and it was like a really convincing win. So, I mean, there were also some impressive highlights in your group performance as well.
Yeah, that was one of the ups.
16-8, 16-9. I remember we actually casted that game. You guys gave them a hammering.
Yeah, no, we played really well that night.
Okay. So, moving on from the group stage, as I said, you guys placed top 4, so that means that you were seeded into the upper bracket of the second stage, the championship elimination stage, and your first game was against Goliath Gaming, a bit of a trial by fire. They seem to not struggle too much in their match. Just a few words on how that game went.
Honestly, the veto went a little bit different to what we were expecting.
Okay.
So yeah, they picked the overpass, and we were expecting like an Inferno or something. And we didn't do too badly in the overpass because we just started with overpass, like it's a fairly new map for us.
Yeah.
And then we played Dust, and we just got absolutely raffle stomped, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least
bad.
you had that extra life in the bracket, right? So it's not like it was a do or die
Yeah.
situation. So you guys could have just gone in there with nothing really to lose, sort of thing. So now, after that result drop down into the lower bracket, you find yourselves against WRG. That's the match that's going to be played this evening. A few words on that game.
WG's quite a good team, but we are pretty confident to play against them.
Okay.
I'm actually quite excited for tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, just a man of few words for the match this evening. Hey, don't want to be revealing too many of your cards, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Okay, cool. Well then, just looking forward into the rest of the competition, what do you think your chances are of, or how far do you actually want to go? What are your goals and expectations?
Okay, well, I think that when I look at all the teams in the lower brackets, I think that we can make it all the way to the end of the lower brackets, considering like the teams that we even drop through. But we'll see what happens. I think if we win today, What's the team in the same?
You probably play
side of the
Sinister5
bracket,
if you win
Sinister
today.
5. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're still confident for the next game if we win today, and yeah,
And then
we'll
after
just
that,
see how it goes.
if you beat Sinister5, then you're probably going to be playing against the loser of Goliath versus Dynamic, which I think it will probably be Dynamic. So then you play against Dynamic in your lower bracket round 4 match, and that's that's the match that you'll have to win to reach top 4, because that's the last hurdle between
Yeah.
this game and Comic Con Online. So I mean, not
Okay.
2 more games away after this one, and that's all it takes for you to reach top 4. It's a doable prospect from your guys' side.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think it's a doable prospect.
Okay.
Just have to beat WRG, Sinister5, and DNMK.
There we go. Not like it's out of the realm of possibility. It's not like
No,
ATK
it's definitely not.
is in
Yeah.
that path or something like that, you know?
No, there's no team that we just mentioned that is by any means like scaring us,
Unbeatable.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, Doobie. Well, thank you so much for giving me some of your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Any few words before I let you go? Anything you'd like to
um.
say?
Oh, actually, I'd like to ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you guys streaming a game tonight?
Yes.
You are, right?
That's
Are you
why
streaming our game?
yeah, that's why we're doing the interview,
Okay.
man. So this
Okay, I was just checking.
yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. We've got the hype. I mean, we've got some like old guard versus new guard vibes going on as well, with a lot of the old school players in South Africa in that team, you know, especially the likes of Zero and Custom, who have been around for ages. And then you've got your guys' team
Yeah.
coming up, where you've got a lot fresh, young youth exuberance coming through as well. So it's a couple nice storylines. We're looking forward to it.
Cool.
So bring us the entertainment, okay?
Yeah, we will, don't worry.
Okay, cool, man. Well, good luck for the match tonight, and all the best for the rest of the event.
Alright,
Cool.
thank you.
Cheers.
Check you, man.
Man, I got myself muted. There we go. I'm back once again, everybody. Apologies about that. That was Doobie from Royalty, and that's what he had to say last night before their game that they played against WRG. Of course, he still gave quite a lot of info, which is relevant in their match tonight, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, last night he said they wanted to bring the entertainment, and I think that definitely came through in the Nuke and Inferno, right? I mean, the Inferno is definitely one that jumps out. For those of you who don't know, Royalty ended up 16-2 victors on that map, and they really made WRG look pedestrian, which makes you think, do they pick it against Sinister5 tonight? And obviously, we've said Sinister5, they're relatively confident in their own Inferno. So there's a lot of things that play into either team's hands in that regard. I mean, Royalty, they're looking... The previous results haven't been the greatest on Dust 2, but Dust 2 is one of their top maps. So the question is, do they pick it? So they're very questionable way in which the veto could go. But as you said prior, I think Sinister5, they probably have... The veto will probably go more into their way of probably picking the overpass into Royalty's map pick, which would probably be Dust, and possibly looking at a third, maybe a Nuke or a Dust 2 would be the third. But I think Sinister5 and Royalty, obviously, we spoke about the fact that Sinister5 already got the 2-0 walloping in the groups, to say the least. But it's a new day. It's a new format. Sure. It's a BO3. You're fighting for your life in the tournament. There's so many things that play into this matchup tonight, and it's still that old gods against the new gods sort of matchup that we saw similar to last night.
Yeah, for sure. You've got Zero Chance, Deviant, and Elusive on the side of Sinister5, making up a trio of players who have been around in the scene for a very long time. So I couldn't agree with you more. I'm hoping we see a bit of a mix-up in the map pool. If we maybe see a map we don't necessarily expect, like a Vertigo coming through, that would really excite me and be something I think would be quite an entertaining prospect. So maybe I wonder if you've got something like that in store. Something you alluded to was the fact that these teams' tournament lives are on the line right now. So there's definitely a lot more pressure in this game than what there was in the group stage, where it was just like their second or third game they were playing, and it didn't really make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, because Sinister5 still finished second and Royalty still made in the top 4. But here, where if you lose the game, you're eliminated from the entire event, it actually becomes a bit of a different story. And especially looking over at the side of Royalty, they're far more inexperienced, and generally teams who are more inexperienced deal less well with pressure than the teams who are experienced. So that tells me that, you know, they're not going to be playing as freely as maybe they were in the group stage. On the flip side, there's all that experience on Sinister5, so they're going to be elevated and have the BMT for this match. Certainly going to be making for a super entertaining game.
100%, and the routes that they've taken throughout this, we've seen Sinister5 experience come through in that regard. I mean, they did play against less aforementioned a team called Team Mist that they played last night, but
Yeah.
they went to triple OT on Dust 2, and they were still able to win that series out 2-0. That's what gets them here tonight. Royalty were able to win out 2-1 victory against WRG, but even though after going one map down, rather in that regard, they dropped their map pick.
Yeah.
They were able to reverse sweep WRG. So I mean, in terms of Royalty's camp, I'm pretty sure they're coming into this game with full confidence, and the same could be said about Sinister5 in that regard. So I think definitely it's whoever's popping on the server. I think these are two teams which are definitely in the top 5, 6 in the country. I think it's very safe to say that they're in that sort of conversation. So I think it comes down to who's ever popping on the server in the night, whoever shows up. I think tonight we may see Royalty take a 2-1 or Sinister5 take a 2-1, and then if they play a BO3 a week down the line, the opposite, the score line may be opposite. So it's definitely a very 50-50, as you alluded to prior. So I think it's definitely going to be an exciting watch. So I hope everyone is here now sticks around, because it's definitely going to be some entertainment on the cards.
Yeah, not only sticks around, but get other people here as well. You know, share the link with your friends, your family. I'm sure even Grammy would be keen to check this game out. It's going to be so hot. The hottest thing she's seen in the century. So let's get as many people here as we possibly can, guys. Definitely looking forward to this one. They're going to be going into it momentarily. They're just shooting each other on Dust, warming up, making sure that everybody's ready to actually jump into the game. So we've got a few more minutes to chat here. Let's talk a little bit about something we mentioned on the Just Chatting panel. You and I actually both predicted that Royalty are going to be making it into the top 4. Currently, whoever wins this game places top 6, and then probably plays against Dynamic in the next match, because Dynamic plays against Goliath, and we're assuming that Goliath are going to be overcoming them in that game. So, do you think Royalty still have what it takes, Nick? I'm giving you an out here. I'm giving you a chance to change your mind if you want to.
Look, I think tonight, I definitely don't think it's going to be a Royalty 2-0. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think Sinister5 definitely get a map. But the question is, do Royalty show the resilience that they showed last night? Even after going a map down, they were still able to win it out 2-1. So the question is, if they show up on the server, are they still able to win out the series 2-1 effectively? Because I don't see a way in which Royalty win this 2-0. I think if Royalty don't ban Train and Sinister5 pick it, I don't see a way in which Royalty win the map. Even if Sinister5 pick Overpass, I don't see a way in which Royalty win that map. But I think the other two maps, we've seen what Royalty can do. Obviously, we don't know the veto yet, but I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, sure.
That if it is Nuke, if it is Dust 2, if it is Inferno, we've spoken about the confidence that both these two teams have, but I think Royalty, they can definitely show what they've got on the server in those sort of maps. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's a Royalty 2-1, but that is subject to whether they go down first map or not. If they win the veto and they choose to veto first, and they win the first map and the series gets tied 1-1 after that, then maybe the third map will be a bit more 50-50, but I think if Royalty end up going down 1-0, they may be on the end of a 2-0 hiding if they drop if Sinister5's map pick comes first. But I'm gonna go off with a Royalty Esports 2-1 victory in that regard.
I like your theory. I think that a 2-0 is definitely more likely for Sinister5 just because of how the map pool could play out. And I think if Royalty are going to win, it's going to have to be in the full 3 series. I'm not too certain that Royalty are going to be winning this game, though, because just looking at the personnel and just seeing the amount of experience there, I think that Royalty definitely have more firepower in their department. But when you get into these games where the pressure is enormous, it goes deeper than just needing to be able to be on point and hitting your shots. And when you have somebody like Elusive, who's literally been there, done that, got the t-shirt, he's actually got the whole closet full with the t-shirts. Like he's done it all. The guy played in America for 18 months under Bravado and like one of the most underdog circumstances in like Counter-Strike history sort of thing, and they actually managed to perform really well contextually speaking. So he knows what it's like to have his back up against the wall and have to be able to fight his way through the game. So when you have somebody like that on your team, coupled with the likes of Slayer and Lakely, who can absolutely pop off and do a lot of damage, we as you're alluding to, we certainly can't be discounting either team here. And for the sake of argument, you're going Royalty. Never nice to see two commentators just plainly agree with one another. So I'll go ahead and say I think Sinister5 are going to win this. I actually think that they can do this in 2-0 fashion as well.
I mean, I can 100% understand where you're coming from, and that's definitely a likely outcome. But as I said, I'm going for Royalty 2-1. But in terms of further on in the tournament, I think both these teams are really in the conversation for finishing in that top 4, right? Because obviously tomorrow night it's Goliath against DNMK, and I'm pretty sure 99 out of 100 people will say that Goliath won out that matchup just because of how they've played recently with the addition of the new coach. They've been looking good. The results have been showing that as well. Obviously, they just came off the 2-0 destruction of Royalty. So, I mean, in that regard, I think Goliath found themselves pretty safe in the upper brackets. But I think Sinister5 and Royalty, I think they have a fair chance of beating Dynamic in the low brackets.
Yeah, me too.
I know Dynamic did go down 2-1. I mean, Sinister5 did go down 2-1 against Dynamic, which means that they're in the position they are. But I definitely don't think that that's a result that's set in stone. I think if they play each other once again, it can definitely go either way. But I think both these teams, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being in the top 4, beating Dynamic Sunday night. Yeah, if they end up beating Dynamic Sunday night. But that's in the future. Tonight's a Sinister5 Royalty. I'm not sure how you think these two teams fare later on in the tournament, but
yeah,
I have one of them taking it to the top 4.
As opposed to Dynamic?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go for that. Just you've played more games, you're a bit more warm. VS Masters Season 5 vibes,
Fair enough.
All that good stuff.
Fair enough. I mean, when we saw Sinister5 and Dynamic actually go head to head, it was a closely contested affair. So I mean, it's not like it's outside of the realm of possibility for that game to go the opposite direction or for Royalty to get the win over them. What I will say is there's a lot more chance that Royalty or Sinister5 do reach the top 4, considering their opposition will be Dynamic and not a Goliath or an ATK. Obviously, that would just like spell a completely different story. So I'm on board with you there as well. We have got the first map in store, and it is indeed Overpass.
Overpass, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was selected by Sinister5. I'll just say that much, because it's probably their best map. Even historically in the South African scene, Elusive is known as an overpass god. He knows everything you need to know about the map. He reads it incredibly well. And his strats that he calls are also like super on point. So I'm slightly nervous for Royalty on Overpass. We didn't see these two teams playing the map in the group stage. As you said, because you get the 2 bans, you can take away 2 of your opponent's strongest maps. And that worked out for Royalty. So let's see what the second map is going to be. But we're starting things on Overpass.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw Sinister5 play Dynamic on Overpass in the upper bracket earlier. And that was a 16-6 victory to Sinister5. And they really made Dynamic look quite pedestrian in that sort of regard. So I think Sinister5 definitely the map pick. I don't think there's anywhere in which Royalty picked that. But I think Sinister5, I don't think there's a chance they lose this map. Maybe I actually don't think there's a chance they lose this map. I'm pretty sure that they have this map in the bag, but
yeah,
you never know, the lovely game of Counter-Strike. But I think, again, it's the second and the third map that is really where Royalty's victory does lie. Is it going to be an Inferno? Is it going to be a Nuke or a Dust? Something along those lines. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I think definitely Overpass is going to be Sinister5's W, actually, to take.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will also say about this Royalty team is they're never really in the middle. They either look like they're not really anywhere on the server, or they're this like really amazing heavy hitting powerhouse who are like capable of like really punching above their weight. They're never really middle of the road sort of thing. So I'm just thinking, like, what sort of a Royalty are we going to be seeing pitching up on the server? In the first map we saw against WRG last night, they actually looked like nearly nowhere on Dust 2, their own map, and then they looked like a completely different team on the next 2 maps. So I'm just thinking as well, are we going to be seeing the Royalty we know and love, or are we going to be seeing that Royalty which sometimes, like, they don't really, reach their stride as we know they have the potential to do? So that's another big thing we're going to have to be looking out for in the early stages here.
That is something we saw last night, right? I mean, Royalty picked Dust 2 into WRG, but they didn't really ever get going in that map. I think the closest we said that map got was probably about 13-8.
Yeah.
And 5 rounds is massive in that regard. So I think
WRG on the CT side as well the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's not even like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think in that sort of regard, if Royalty are able to get are a well-oiled machine in the server tonight, I think maybe they can win out the aim duels that they need to. But with that being said, Sinister5, the same can be said about them, right? It's really whoever shows up on the maps, because as we've talked about, the map pools are overlapping in some sort of regard. So we're going to see how the map fares out in that sort of playstyle.
Yeah, and I've got the game on the screen already, Nick. All 10 players are in the server, and we should be underway with this game momentarily, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It should be a belter. I am really looking forward to this game, Nick. Not gonna lie, like sometimes as a caster you end up casting games and you're in a certain mood and you're not like necessarily entirely keen. Yeah, guys, we are human, actually, believe it or not. This is a game that like I am just like frothing at the mouth, chomping at the bit. I actually feel like you get like these games, you're almost a bit honored to cast because you get to call the game. out. So I'm really looking forward to this. Super excited. I'm going to be giving it my all. I know you will too, as will the players be. They deserve that from us as well, obviously, with them just giving it everything they've got on the server. Of course, this is their tournament lives on the line. Guys, remember, this isn't just like a 2-week event that's been playing out. This goes back to all 3 legs that started all the way in the back of start of February. They've been playing for 8-9 months now to get to this point, to be able to be afforded this opportunity. Now they find themselves just 1 match away from top 6 and potentially further. Overpass, we begin proceedings. It's Royalty on the CT side, Sinister5 on the T side, and we got it all to play for, Nick. Let's get on with it.
We got it all to play for. There's Elusive who's bought a smoke and 2 flashes, and the rest of the server has armor besides that of God's Not Dead with the kits and the smoke. So EXE's just patrolling towards middle. He takes contact and falling back, and he's accompanied by Doobie, but they are just going to be hightailing it towards back towards the A bomb side. As Bathroom's control does go the way of Sinister5, but the earlier control goes the way of EXE and Doobie, and God's Not Dead chimes in for one of his own. It's a 0 chance, and now it's Elusive and Deviant left in a 2v4, and just like that, it seems like the pistol round is done. But you never know. Like, I mean, we've sung Elusive's praises so often. So he's definitely one to bring this back. Deviant, he's actually creeping up. Monster, the CT's actually playing retake, but they just can't fall down over towards Graffiti. They can't take these fights alone, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're giving Sinister5 an avenue into this round, but EXE over towards Heaven with the fading smoke. He could be activated. He's going to push the smoke, and he emerges. He gets 1 and 2 Elusive. Wow. Now Deviant's position's now no 1v4. He's only good for 1, and just like that, Royalty get the first round on the board.
Couple missed shots there by a lot of different players, you know, but it's the first round of the series, so it's okay. We'll give them a bit of an opportunity to warm up before we start getting too critical about their aim. But yeah, nice pistol round by Royalty. Cool, calm, and collected with the USPs. Just hit the shots that they need to towards the A bomb site. Sinister5 didn't really test them too much because Royalty had that extra player on the A bomb site, so they had a good read there, set the defense up nicely, and pretty much secured the round from the 4v2. Sinister5 going to eco here, which is interesting because they did get the bomb plant, right? So, I mean, very often we see teams going for the force buy where, you know, you drop 2 AKs, you get armor up on the players who drop the rifles, and then you see if you can make something happen from there. They're going to save here, pretty much go for the full save, and then just buy up in the next round.
Yeah. Doobie's able to eco farm. He's able to get 1, and this is important for the MP9s and the SMGs to pick up these frags. If you want to be able to fight the AKs next round, you want those M4s and AWPs coming out. Because Deviant's going to try and make it as expensive as possible. It's a bit messy, but he cleans it up eventually. So, yeah. God's Not Dead doesn't actually have armor, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's 100% intentional, right? 100% intentional. He's just saving money.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna let you try to come up with the reason for that one.
It's the Giga brain we spoke about, right? You know?
Yeah.
He knows he's not going to see anyone the whole round. He just wanted the M4 to look at, so
yeah, fair enough.
100% intentional. Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, he's going up against Desert Eagles, so does it actually make much of a difference? I suppose body shots, yeah, but let's see if Deviant and Elusive can make this any more expensive than just the 1 kill that's already been found. I think that Elusive may go undetected here, but you can just see from God's Not Dead's positioning that he's not going to be getting caught out at all. In fact, Elusive might be able to catch out Leggy as he just progresses his way forward. Yeah, nice shot. Barely just saw the tip of his head, but that was enough. 2 kills is the bare minimum you want to be finding in your eco round as well. Just then solidifies that you have actually done a bit of economic damage, but Elusive needs to make sure that he goes down here because he doesn't want to be going into the next round with only $2,700. That's just literally a suicide mission right now. Everybody wins. God's Not Dead gets a kill, and Elusive goes down.
You see, he saved money on the armor. You know, he didn't. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't buy armor. But be that as it may, they're coming up against the 5 rifles of Sinister5 now. So
yeah,
the MP9s have been dropped. Besides, actually no, the MP9s haven't been dropped. Doobie actually fell last round. So EXE, he's sticking with his. Leggy, he fell with his MP9, so he's pitched up a scout. He doesn't have the AWP. There isn't a big green gun in the server at the moment. But I think that's definitely going to be an interesting AWP battle that between Slayer and Leggy. That's definitely one to look out for.
Both of them quite sporadic AWPers that are like able to land super nutty shots and take the game by the scruff of its neck, but neither of them like the really consistent AWPers. So they both have that potential to go nuclear. Which one is going to be the one to do it is what I'm keen to see. As Sinister5 begin their early default towards long. making sure that they show presence here as early on in the half as they can to force Royalty to start playing a few CTs on the side of the map. And Doobie just looking for a timing play there, trying to unsettle the T's, actually ends up going down, and that's a really big first kill as well, because look at what that's done to the setup on the CT side. Immediately a player shifted from the B bomb side towards the A bomb side, and the B bomb side is actually really tough to lock down with only 2 players, and that's why they're getting aggressive and they're actually pushing up short right now. You can see on the what's going on. Now we switch across to the fight, and Donkey will get the all-important kill. Now they're going to be trying to just make their way to the say bomb site, take down the first, and Leggy's actually, he's been segregated by these smokes, so he's not going to be able to have any further say here. Bomb plant secured for Sinister5, and they have the 1-man advantage.
I think if you're Royalty, there's no real way in which you can retake this bomb site. I think you've got a molly for, they're going to molly off the left side. Actually, it's a missed molly from Donkey there, possibly. That's just going to, I think that should just be the save call, really. You've got a smoke maybe to put on the bomb, which allows you to stick, but in the 4v3 situation, you're going to have a really tough time flushing out of these positions, especially when you've got no util. But the smoke is dropped on the bomb. Lately's going to take first contact. Zero chance takes on Donkey in the meantime. Lately cleans up Leggy, and now it's EXE in a 1v4, and they don't get any kills on the retake.
Nick, just like you said, the save was definitely on the cards. They even look at their economy. Exy would have been able to drop a weapon. Donkey could have gone like for the FAMAS buy, and they would have had 5 rifles in the round once again. They get literally nothing done in that retake as well. Totally unnecessary. Now they go for a force buy, and this is just like a nice little avenue of re-entry into this game for Sinister5.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if you're Royalty, you lose this round, you then double eco once more, which allows for Sinister5 to get a 2-round buffer on you. But the same could be said about Royalty, right? If they win this round somehow, then you upgrade to the AKs, to the M4s, and you're looking good for the start of the half. But be that as it may, it is going to be the superior weaponry on the side of Sinister5. 5 rifles on their side, only 2 rifles rather, on the side of Royalty. But oh, the boost absolutely destroys EXE. Perfect counter to that sort of position. Left completely in the open, and Elusive is going to take contact over towards Doobie, and this force fight looks like it is going to go down with not much of a fight in this round. Oh, okay. Donkey actually gets one. Lately with the trade though. But he's going to get shot in the back, and now it's Leggy left in a 1v4 situation. 5-7 in hand. Maybe he can try and find an exit of some sort, save the armor. That is exactly what he's going to do. So Zertron's going to press the issue, but oh, nice clean one tap from Leggy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure why Zero Chance was forcing the issue there. You know, you had the AK, the all-important AK, and it's not like Leggy could have had any weaponry that was too important, but they still could find this kill here and deny him saving this weapon. You can see Lately is already in position to try and scout out this last CT. Just getting a quick look at the vetoes. Dust 2 is our map up next, and that was indeed picked by Royalty. And then our third and final map is going to be Nuke, Nick.
Okay, interesting. I thought Royalty would have gone for the Inferno pick.
So it was actually, it was Sinister5 who had the choice between the 2 final maps.
Inferno and Nuke?
Yeah, and they decided to go.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think that is the better play. Obviously, they must have seen the result last night, right? Obviously, then Royalty absolutely demolished WRG, to put it lightly, in that regard. Like 16-2 on Inferno. I definitely wouldn't be someone who wants to play Royalty after that sort of result. But I think once again, like Royalty, their recent results on Dust 2 haven't been going too great. Obviously, the 16-1 loss against Goliath is something to keep in mind. So the Dust 2 pick is a bit interesting in that regard.
Yeah,
but
I respect the confidence.
Maybe they put in the extra work. Yeah, 100%.
They one of their strongest maps in their arsenal, and because they've had 2 fairly one-sided losses on it recently, hasn't disparaged them from picking the map in their future games. So I respect that. I like it when teams stick to their guns. One thing I will say though is that Sinister5 have displayed some impressive displays on the map already, so it's not like it's a foregone conclusion, especially considering Royalty beat them already. You can bet your top dollar that Elusive figured out exactly what went wrong in that game, and will be looking to amend or rectify those issues. So double save now for Royalty. This should be Sinister5 pulling ahead by 2 rounds, Nick.
It should be, but you sing the praises the South Africans and the Deagles all the time, so you never know what can happen. But it's actually just the aim duels, whether the Deagles can win them out in this sort of regard. But yes, I agree with you. It should be 4-2 if things go that way. But I agree with you 100%. Royalty they definitely not backing down in that Dust 2 pick, and I respect them 100%. They did obviously beat Sinister5 16-8 in groups on Dust, so
yeah,
that is something to keep in mind. But obviously, as you said, Elusive, without a doubt, would have gone over that demo, gone over the mistakes, and maybe fine-tuned things in that regard. But 16-8, I definitely don't think it's going to be the same result tonight. Obviously, different circumstances, different formats, etc., etc. So many different things that account to a different scoreline that could happen tonight. But I think it's going to be an interesting 3 maps, and I think we're looking at an exciting series. This round seems to just be a mop-up for the most part from Sinister5. It's a bit of a miss Marty from Slayer, but it's actually going to work to flush out Donkey in that regard. But
no, not a bad
actually, Donkey, never mind. Yeah.
Nice cover there from Deviant as XE finds another search. He's got a damage coming through here with these Desert Eagles. Can he find another? I mean, obviously he's going to be hovering around here with the fact that he's going to be buying in the next round regardless. Fairly low health on 2 of these 3 players as well, so if he could just land the one shot, that would secure the kill. But Sinister5 are not even giving him an inch right now. Sprays down lately, just doing a bit of damage now as he wants to get off the bomb side. Everybody likes an AK on the CT side, that's no secret.
That is no secret, but in terms of an eco, you alluded to two kills is good. But what's even better is 3, because even though Sinister5 they built up banks, so it's not really as noticeable in this sort of round. But
yeah,
when you're ecoing and you're trying to fight and you're trying to really hamper the T's economy or the CTs, depending on what side you're on, 3 kills is the absolute. That is what you want to aim for, right? Because that's 3 people that need to reinvest, and only 2 people can be dropped in that sort of regard. So one person has to use his own money to buy his own rifle. So in terms of that regard, 3 is the magic number when you're the team ecoing and you're trying to fight against a team of full rifles. So, but three kills was found by Royalty in that round. So that is a W in itself, but it's a full buy round from both sides. The big green gun is on the server for both sides. Slayer and Leggy have purchased up 2 of their own, so that's something to keep an eye on.
And it seems like Sinister5 are going to be going for an aggressive B hitcher, even though they have the orb. They don't want to take this round too late. They want to try and be aggressive. They want to try and see if they can unsettle Royalty on this bomb site. They've been able to find the 2 opening kills. They saw a 3rd player to be dealt with, and he receives the same treatment. 0 chance, rolling back the ears and opening up with the frags onto the bomb site. Great work there by him, and that sends the shockwave through Royalty as they just immediately commit to the save. And Nick, this is something that I talk about quite regularly on our casts, is looking to try and abuse and exploit that heavy B exec in the start of the round. You want to try and do that as early as you can in the half, because it begins to condition the CTs and they start to get a little bit suspect about their defense as well. So if you could just continue to abuse that, it literally makes the CT's life a nightmare.
100%, and I saw something interesting during the ESL Pro League. What Heroic do in their B execs is they actually do more of a B pounce rather than a B exec, right? They actually go out while the mollies and smokes are in the air. So obviously the flashbangs need to be on point in the timing and that sort of regard, but they win rounds like that so easily because they just catch CTs with nades in their hands and stuff like that. But in this round, Sinister5, they just go for a stock standard B executes, and as you said, it's going to condition the CTs to worry about that in that regard. Do you want to put 4B one round because you have a feeling a B execute's coming? Do you want to play retake B? Do you want to... It's a lot more factors that the CTs have to include in their arsenal, but it's just going to be an eco coming out from Royalty. Leggy's got 5k in the bank, but the orb is still on his back, saved from the previous round, and the same can be said about Doobie and his M4. But Sinister5, they posted 5 without response now, and this is exactly what should be the case in this sort of regard. Sinister5, very, very confident map of theirs, which is Overpass. And we're going to see it unfold.
They're also quite a momentum-based team, I think, Nick. So are Royalty, but I feel like Sinister5, like, once the pieces start rolling and the comms start getting on point and the mid-round decisions are all being adhered to and everyone's on the same page, like, this team starts to, you know, they start to snowball. Already 0 chance, 8 for 3, you know, like, he's one of the players who isn't necessarily in the team for his fragging alone, so when he's already also hitting those shots and contributing largely in that department, then he's overachieving, and that's going to be taking off the pressure of a few of the other players as well, allowing them to play more freely. So I think Sinister5 have gotten off to a very good start here.
100%, and there should be the 6th on the board. With all respect to Royalty, I don't think.
Yeah,
just
where's the orb?
They're stuck on the bomb sites. The orbs on it.
Okay.
Leggy is on. So with them being stuck on the bomb site, they don't have info, and it's just literally just going to be Sinister5 walking up short.
Yeah.
Pretty much execing B against 2 Deagles. So actually, the rotates coming in. All of them are rotating. So Sinister5 could be walking into a stack here.
way through. Monster tasked with finding the frags. He's going to spot 2 players on. He's able to take down 1, and the trade comes through from Slayer. He's actually completely blinded up, but finds the frag regardless. He's going to find another one, and Donkey needs AWPing from him as he entries into the bomb site. Now Leggy has gotten on the angle, and he's trying to find somebody before the bomb gets planted, but nobody offering themselves up just yet. Nice flick there to take down Slayer as he just jumps up, trying to get the nade out. Surely, though, he's still not going to be able to get this done. Now that Sinister5 know exactly where he is, they've got the crossfire set up. He could just go for the savior and drop a second AWP going into the next round. He's going to end up hovering around a bit longer than he needs to, and he goes down. So, no luxury of that extra AWP. I mean, they can buy it, but that means they have to spend money on it now, Nick.
Yeah, that's another $4,750 that you won't want to be spending. But in that regard, there was some sort of economical damage that Royalty were able to pull out. But when you're 6 rounds in a row from Sinister5, the economy is the least of your worries. You just want to, it's already built up, so there's no real worry in that regard. But yeah, now Royalty, they got to start posting rounds on the board. They've taken short control of this round, and Leggy is flashing Doobie in towards middle to take an early engagement. No one's home currently. They're actually residing in the playground, and EXC is going to get caught with these pants down towards shorts, and Donkey is actually catching Deviant, pushing the smoke. A bit of a preemptive smoke push might have been the case there, but
yeah, I think he's trying to help Elusive. There we go.
Check it, that nade.
Right? Oh, it goes too deep. Goes too deep down the stairs. Elusive is still alive. He's going to get ahead of the smoke as well. My word, how has he managed to stay alive for so long here? Doobie trying to lock down toilets as he just backpedals. Will be able to get out alive. Leggy looking to have an impact as well. He doesn't hit the shot. The one-man advantage does reside, however, as Doobie resides towards long, and with good fortune, he takes down Lately. So now he definitely is going to be looking to back off the Slayer. Won't be allowing him to do that. So that's a really important kill. Just keep things slightly even here with 48 seconds left on the clock. A smoke, a flash, and a molly on the side of Royalty for them to try and aid their cause into getting into this A bomb site. Seems like they're going to be doubling up and going towards long. Notice how they change their weapons around. Elusive has the AWP because he only has 12 health. And Slayer will be tasked with doing the entries. They actually have quite a lot of util here, Nick. They could molly off Optimus, you know, molly off Bank, get the smokes in place as well. If they can,
and especially when they're hitting,
especially
when they're hitting a bomb site where only one person's there, then they really have a chance. I mean, 2 people rather. So they've caught God's Not Dead in the open, but Leggy's come out nicely with the trade. So now it's Elusive, 12 points of health, and he's going to be afforded the bomb plant. But Leggy, he's trying to fake the sound cue, but Elusive, we don't need to talk about his experience. Everyone knows it. He's in 1v2, he's going to be cold as ice. Donkey and Leggy now tasked with this 2v1 retake. Donkey's got a belt, pretty much a belt of utility, but up close and personal is Elusive. Jeez. I appreciate the play in that regard. Like, I mean, you can't blame him for wilding a bit, but it just the barrel poked out a bit too far, and be it as it may, 3-6 is the score. And
nice patience from Royalty as well there in the retake. You know, both of the players just waiting for the smoke to dissipate, not doing anything silly. Leggy just baiting the push. I thought he was actually going to commit to it for a second, which I was a bit nervous for, because if he just gets taken down 1v1, it's anybody's game. But nice heads up, mature, patient play there from Royalty. The discipline was in effect, and they get back to winning ways. So they bring an end to that 6-round win streak for Sinister5, and they're going to have to string a few together here of their own. As you touched on, Sinister5's economy has absolutely snowballed, and they're going to be taking fight towards water. Zero Chance gets out first. There's actually a team kill, but Donkey's still going to be able to find that all-important extra frag, and as a result, the one-man advantage is found for Royalty.
That was a 4-man B setup, and I quite like that from Royalty. They have the AWP posted back on A. They have a double boost on towards shorts, and then they have 2 players pushing short to press the issue. So only 1 player falls, and they have effectively 2 players fighting that short ton at the same time, even with 1 falling. So Royalty, ultimately, they win out the early engagement, but that Elusive knows that there's only 1 player on the A bomb side, and he's caught Leggy with his pants down, and now it's a 3v3 retake. The bomb has been planted on the A bomb side. Front dice is the call, and it's going to be a 3v3 retake coming in. Donkey's still got a full belt of utility, and Doobie's actually spotted the legs of Elusive. Tags him down to 41 points of health. But all 3 players from Royalty coming from the same position, so post plants will be awarded to Sinister5.
Yeah, plenty util here for Royalty to try and get themselves into the bomb site. You can see it starting to rain in. They do expect Elusive on the close angle. Actually, they've already spotted him, but Deviant in the proactive defense actually takes down Doobie before he can get towards the site. Smoke is dropped, but there's a slight angle for Slayer to work with, and he gets the trajectory correct as he takes down Axie through the smoke. Donkey now forcing the issue, pushing forward, looking to get the kill. He will be able to take down Slayer, but there's no time left on the clock. Sinister5 pulling it out the oil there as they actually get a round that was heavily stacked against them, all thanks to that heads up quick thinking of Elusive, just grabbing the opportunity, grabbing the bull by its horns, pushing into the A bomb site, not waiting for his teammates, not trying to bait anybody. The IGL himself takes the responsibility on his shoulders and he gets the job done.
I assume we are going to see a reinvestment from Royalty though in this regard, because they've got so, I don't know why they don't reinvest. I mean, Donkey could have dropped an AK, Leggy. I mean an M4. Leggy could have dropped an M4. Doobie could have bought an M4. So yeah, so
that's peculiar.
But maybe they're playing the long. Like, I actually don't have a response to that. Like, I was going to say maybe they're playing the. Yeah, I was like maybe they're playing the long game, but no, you know, you're 7-3 down. So
even
what long game you're playing?
Sorry, Nick. So don't worry, guys. Even Elusive misses flashes, so it's okay. Oh man, it's such a pleasure to cast his games, Nick. He's been all the way in America, he's back on South African soil, and he's making his damage happen here. Sinister5, speaking about damage, so it's the Desert Eagles doing it all! 3 kills coming through in quick succession. Donkey with the M4 finds a frag as well. Nick, they shut you up. They don't need weapons to win the round. They can get it done with the pistols alone.
Yeah, you know, they should have bought into this round, you know. But then just one good flash, EXE with the deagle, and like, where's that been the 7 rounds you've just lost, right? But Royalty, they post the 4th, and they, as you said, they need to string rounds together, and that actually had quite a large effect on Sinister5's economy. If Royalty win the next round, Sinister5, they have no rounds of loss bonus, so I mean, you're looking at an eco next round if Sinister5 lose this. So Royalty, they have an avenue back into this map. But that is all being said, only if and only if they win this round.
Yeah, opportunities that they should not be leaving, you know, not let go begging. 0 chance, boost up. Oh no, not like that, James. You can't afford to miss that opportunity. He had Donkey dead to right, but unfortunately he just couldn't complete the frag, and he's going to be left kicking himself after that. And look at how much information Doobie has taken here. Sinister5 going to be reacting quickly as they start making their way onto this B bomb site. 4 players coming through. Monster Donkey's going to be the first point of contention. He is low, but he's still able to stand tall, and he finds the first. He takes down 0 chance as well, which was the original man to do all the damage to him. But the quick frags do come through from Sinister5 regardless. Exie on the edge of the smoke gets destroyed, and it's just going from bad to worse right now for Royalty. Even though they find the first 2 frags, Nick, they lose 4 players in response, and they haven't been able to get anything in return.
I'm quite confused because Doobie made that info play towards Playground, but Leggy was still posted up long. So
yeah, he was watching lowers for the lowers push though. I think that was pretty much the only other concern.
Okay, fair.
But he could have taken a different angle maybe, so he was a bit closer to the rotate perhaps. You know, that's something.
Yeah, but yeah, hindsight has 20/20 vision, as they all say. But maybe that's just something.
I'm trying to sound smarter as the caster, man. Don't steal my thunder, bro. I know what I'm talking about. You won't stop me. 8-4 here. Sinister5 showing that they have got what it takes to be super competitive. At least on the T side, they've gotten off to a great start, Nick. 8 of the past 10 rounds have gone their way.
Often Overpass is seen as one of those CT-sided maps, but when you have a good T-side come and play their game on Overpass, then they make it look as T-sided as possible. Then Royalty, they're investing into this round, so look at possibly if they win this round, and Sinister5, they will have to eco next round and then buy next, so you're possibly looking at 9-6, 8-7 territory if Royalty win this round. But if Royalty lose this round, then they can still reinvest next round. So looking at a relatively close end to the half, but Royalty then you start hitting their shots, and that's exactly what Leggy failed to do right there. So he did have an AWP, yeah.
Oh jeez, you can't miss that, bro. Like I for some reason I thought I heard a rifle shots, like the AR shots, but yeah, that's a big let off. Elusive should have been or Lakey rather should have been taken down. And you can see the responses on the precipice here for God's Not Dead. He wants to try force the issue. Remember, God's Not Dead is the IGL for Royalty, everybody. Taking the responsibility on his shoulders. And I think he's been doing a great job, actually, with this team. I've been pretty impressed by the way that their T sides have been played out, so I think a lot of that success has to be credited to him. I've noticed he's actually taken a bit of a hit in the fragging department, but that's okay because you're relying on the likes of Exy, Doobie, Leggy, even Donkey has been actually really impactful with the frags. Again, I'm speaking his name and he's going to be called upon here as Sinister5 do start making their way towards this A bomb site. They've been changing it up really nicely between A and B, normally going towards B, and this time they're going to be faking towards the A bomb site, trying to force some rotations out, but a late smoke is going to be making life a bit more difficult for Sinister5, and you can see the rotation comes through towards Monster now, because they've been blocked off on short. Everybody on board with the mid-round decision, that body's going to be slightly late, so they're able to get ahead of it, and the frags come through for Slayer as he picks up a double on the entry. And that's the bomb site secured once again. Royalty haven't had much success in the retakes either, Nick, so I'm not sure this one's going to be going their way.
Oh, but that molly over towards default's going to flush Slayer up, but no one's holding. Yeah, no one's holding for his reposition, so they're also going to molly off short, and Slayer, he's kind of in no man's land, but he's tucked away in his corner, and he's good for one, as Elusive chimes in for one of his own. And as you said, the retakes for Royalty, they haven't been looking too on par in that in this game so far, so it's 9-4 on the board. Royalty, they are able to reinvest if Leggy drops over a rifle and maybe a FAMAS on Doobie. That is what's going to happen. So Royalty are going to reinvest into this round, so you're looking at if they lose this round, it's probably going to be 11-4, which is a bit of a tough one to swallow if you're Royalty, but if they win this round and the round afterwards, then 9-6 is a competitive half, and then you win the pistol, you're back in it. So
oh no, poor X, he just wants to try and get into water, but he's taking spray through the wood, he's taking chip damage from the fire. Eventually he does use his smoke to extinguish the flames, and they catch Slayer off. That's a big kill, but as a result, Sinister5 will push their way into the team onside with sheer brute force, and they are able to find at least the evening trade, and they're actually going to be segmenting these players, isolating them from the bomb site with their smokes. This has turned out very awkward for Royalty, even though they looked pretty good for a moment. Now they turned into a retake where 3 players are going to have to try and work their way from water. And what is going on, Nick? Are they saving? Oh no, they're just clearing out lowers for any late lurk. Okay, now they're trying to re-explore once again, but Deviant on the off angle here is making sure that Monster cannot be utilized, and a bit of an overextension from him there might actually be costing his team. Royalty are still in this, although, as I say that, are they going to be committing? They are indeed. Some late flashes and util raining. They've got the kits, they've got the smoke to drop on the bomb as well. Leggy gets a kill, but Elusive answering back with the double frag of his own, looking to spray down Leggy as well. He may even have done enough chip damage so that Leggy will fall to the bomb. Yeah, he'll get far enough away, but yeah, he's hunting. He wants that frag. He smells blood.
He smells blood. But Sinister5, they already found themselves in double digits, and there wasn't any really tack pause that called out from Royalty to talk things over, to talk about the problems that may have been that may have been facing from them. So, but in it doesn't really matter at this sort of stage. Like maybe you have this sort of idea where it's not your map. You don't really. You kind of knew you were going to go 1-0 down. Like I know that sounds like a bad mentality, but to my knowledge, Royalty don't really prac overpass. They don't really expect a win of this map. So maybe they're just going to play this map, throw it in the bin afterwards, and treat it as a BO2.
Yeah.
But maybe that's some sort of approach that they could have taken. But I mean, you could always possibly win out the map as make it as competitive as possible. And that's exactly what EXE's done. He's got the opening trade in the round. Donkey and lately are the 2-4.
I think that's
the
actually
B hit comes in once more.
I think that's been Royalty's biggest issue in this whole entire half, is that they're taking too many fights with Sinister5 in the mid round, and Sinister5 are just trading evenly, and then they're executing off the back of that, and it's favoring them time and time again. So I think it would have worked out better if Royalty had actually just, you know, turtled like they are right now, sit in the bomb sites, try and deal with them when they execute, don't give any fights in the early stages of the round. 3 players here ready and waiting to welcome this execute with open arms as Sinister5's march forward through Monster. First frag goes away of 0 chance, but there needs to be a response here. Exy is the player to get that immediate response. Elusive gets one of his own. Look at the push coming up short, but Slayer deals with them with the fantastic no-scope. And now they know where Leggy is as well. Very awkward position for him with the AWP. Sinister5 with a super dominant first half here on the T side as they win 11 of the last 13 rounds in that half, Nick.
I mean, last round was a bit of an oof in that regard. I mean, Doobie he was pushing lowers, pushing T spawn, and then he was gonna go down the stairs towards T spawn and flank Monster, but then last second he decides to go lowers. I mean, if he goes Monster, that's Royalty's round. But that's just a 50-50 decision that unfortunately didn't go Royalty's way. But now they find themselves 4-11 down.
Yeah.
Another pistol that makes them. I mean, 11-4 is definitely not a scoreline in which the game's lost. I think 12-3 is a bit far. I mean, one round sometimes people say is a bit too much, but I think 11-4 definitely you win the pistol.
Yeah,
you clear up the 2 rounds after that. You're looking at 7-11. Then the first buy round comes around, and then 8-11. You got the momentum, all that good stuff. But I'm looking at it from a very optimistic point of view. But there's going to be the air hit coming in, and it is going to be a vacant bomb site. He's going to try to take some extra control, and he's going to get Slayer decapitated. Now it's a 4v5 rather, now turned 4v3 retake. The kit has been dropped over towards the back of bank, and the bomb is planted on Optimus, so post plants have been awarded to the T's, and now the T's and CTs, they've switched positions. Coming to the bomb side is Deviants, and he's going to take out God's Not Dead, as well as Donkey, and actually get the triple onto Leggy, and now it's EXE left.
Not like this, Nick. We were just stressing how important that pistol round was for Royalty. They get in such a good position. They plant the bomb in a strong spot. They have the post plant. They've got all the positions under lockdown. It was a stronger lockdown than level 5 in South Africa, for Pete's sake. And still somehow Sinister5 were able to get onto the side. Deviant made that look easy.
Deviant did make that look easy, to say the least. But that's traded pistol rounds now. So if you're 11-4 in the half and you won pistol, that's a bit of a rip. But 12-4 is the score. They've traded pistols in this map, and
oh man, that's gonna be such a tough pull for Royalty to swallow. As you were saying, that pistol round was so important. They can't get across the line. They do go for the force buy here, and this is that force buy I was talking about that Sinister5 could have chosen to do if they wanted. Obviously, it worked out really well for them. They didn't, because they just needed the full buy, and then they went on that little 6-run consecutive round win spree. But Royalty can make this happen. 2 AKs, couple Desert Eagles as well. They've got armor on the important players who have got the rifles, so they've got the pieces in this round to make it happen. And you can see that's why they're trying to take the long fights here. 3 players in long. They've got the 2 AKs here as well. They want to try and play into the strengths of these weapons.
I'm quite a fan of this buy in all regard. I think Na'Vi was the first team to make it famous, dropping Simple the AK or Zeus the AK, and then Simple on the Deagle. I think there was actually quite a good explanation into why Simple was on the Deagle. I actually explained that further, but the AK has now been known, so now Sinister5 understand what sort of buy they're up against. They know they're up against the Deagles and the AKs, but Donkey's going to get caught in no man's land, and Slayer's typically tapping. Oh, and he 180s and takes down God's Not Dead. Now playing up personal, he's traded up to the MP9, but a good smoke push from Doobie comes out, and a double kill on the entry. Actually, EXE takes that second frag, and now it's a 2v2 retake. A decent flash comes in, but Doobie only partially blind, takes down Elusive, and now it's Deviant left in a 1v2. Both Royalty players relatively low, but the smoke has been dropped in. Deviant's position is now known. The smoke does shroud his position for him to exit, but he's making all the noise in the world, and EXE with the 180 and the readjustment, unable to take Deviant out, and now Doobie on 28 points of health. No kits on Deviant, but he seems to have an idea of where Doobie resides, and Doobie ultimately wins out the gunfight. 6 points of health, he wins that out. 5 rounds on the board for Royalty against Sinister5's 12.
Dude, Royalty needed that so desperately. The fact that Doobie gets the 3-piece in that round and he clutches with only 6 health, that is massive for the team. I can't stress enough how much Royalty actually needed that. So that's a really nice round win for them, and that's going to be certainly turning the mood up in the team speak in the server a little bit for Royalty after that round win. They pick up their first round in the second half as well, and they got a bit of a job to do here. But Nick, it is a force buy from Sinister5, so I actually want to hear your reasoning here. I mean, you might get rudely interrupted. You were talking about the Zeus Simple situation with the Desert Eagle and the AK. I'm keen to hear what you have to say about that. So why don't you let us know?
Simple's reasoning for him being on the Deagle and Zeus being on the AK, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that Simple is without a doubt mechanically better than Zeus. But the way you think about it is if you have like a bar graph of talent with an AK, right? Or in the round, then you have Simple's being elevated by a little bit with the Deagle, but because you have a worse player on a superior rifle, then his bar gets increased just that much more, which makes them a bit more even in that regard.
Yeah.
So then you have 2 players which Simple, he can do whatever he wants pretty much with the deagle. He treats it as an AWP. So that's why he drops the rifle over to someone who's not as prolific with it, and he sticks on the deagle. But in this round, it's exactly the opposite. I mean,
Yeah.
well, not the opposite, but I mean, the early trades are actually going Sinister5's way. It's 3-2 in men alive in favor of Sinister5. So, but there is this play from EXE. He's in heaven, and he's going to hear these rotates. So,
oh no. He's in and amongst them.
Yeah, he's
coming up
behind.
behind. He can just actually make his way onto the B-bomb side here. Look at Lately's position though. Fortunately for Lately, he's not going to be getting backstabbed, and he's actually going to be hearing Xe pushing forward. Oh, this is such a nice position by Lately. He's so fortunate that he's here as well. He takes down the first, and now he just needs to stay alive. No need to force the issue. No need to take the fight. Leggy left in a 1v3, but a very tough 1v3, and Elusive just spots him on the angle. So Nick, I get that logic, and I know that that's definitely the logic that they had in the Navi camp, but personally, I just think that if you can get an AK on Simple in any round, him alone with that weapon and armor is enough to win you the round. Zeus doesn't have to do anything. Give him a Desert Eagle and just get him to call information. I never agreed with the sentiment that, like, I understand it, but I really don't agree with it, and I definitely think that it's a better option to give your best player the best weapon and give him the best chance for winning either round. That's sort of my ideology on that idea.
Yeah, I get you 100%, and obviously you usually send the deagles in first and the AKs do the dirty work to clean up the round. So in that regard, you don't want Simple to enter the bomb site with his teammates baiting him. Like, imagine Zeus baiting Simple. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
I think it was a bit of a superiority thing as well in that team. You know, like Zeus was the legend, one of the greatest IGLs of all time in Counter-Strike's history. So I think it was like him like, yeah, you know what, dude, like, I've earned this. You can play on the Desert Eagle because you're capable at that gun. I get the rifle, mother Samuel L. Jackson. So it's Nico here for Royalty. Nick, as we just segue, we digress, but back into the game we go.
We digress, back into the real world, back from reality.
And it's not looking too good for Royalty right now, is it? Eco round.
Yeah, I mean,
backs up against the wall. Sinister5 putting a lot of distance between themselves and Royalty. Lately on the spray is going to make them pay.
The rat that is Lately. Oh, he's on for the ace actually, so Leggy on 14 points of health. He's hunting for it lately. He wants it.
Yeah, I mean, anti-eco round ace always feels good, right? But I think he's going to get robbed job by Deviant, unfortunately, on the angle. Leggy's just going to offer himself up on a silver platter.
I'd love to see just Deviant just not shoot. He's just jumping around and telling Lately, look, he's on B, he's on B.
Just watch Lately like channel is in a Superman and just like fly across the map.
he just no clips across the map and gets the ace. But 14-5, it's a bit of a stomping to say the least from Sinister5. It's similar to what we saw them do to Dynamic. I mean, that game finished 16-6, so Sinister5 definitely proving great opposition on a map like Overpass. Oh, that nade! 150 damage at least.
Oh my god! Slayer continues to push,
Slayer.
which is actually really questionable because when you have the molly there, like, you should just be expecting the T players. He had no support at all, super aggressive, but he did his damage already with that grenade. I mean, that's like near 150 damage with a $300 piece of utility.
He's done his ADR for the round. Oh, Deviant's going to take the fight over towards Doobie and win that out, so it just seems like at the end of the day, since the 5, they're just winning out the aim battles. Like, I don't want to disrespect the Counter-Strike they've been playing. It's been good Counter-Strike, but at the end of the day, it's just like the entries from Zero Chance on the B-bomb side and the T side, if you think back, he's just winning out those duels as easy as you like. So it just seems like since the 5, they've really showed up on Overpass. Now it's Leggy left in a 1v3 to not concede map points to Sinister5. So I think just on the server on Overpass, it's just been Sinister5. They've just been the better team. There's really been no beating around the bush in that regard. It's just Leggy and Royalty, they really just haven't showed up compared to Sinister5.
Something that you did speak about though a few rounds ago is how Royalty would have understood that this is Sinister5's best map and that they shouldn't be putting too much stock in this game. They shouldn't be investing too much in themselves and setting any unnecessary expectations as Elusive shuts down Leggy. It's really important to be realistic with your goals and expectations, Nick, because then you don't set yourselves up for any unnecessary disappointment. Like, let's say for example Royalty like, yeah guys, even though this is their best map, we know that we're better than them and we can definitely do this. And it's like, no mate, don't like actually don't put unnecessary stress on yourself, because then when you don't actually achieve that result, it's like, damn, you know, like we were so hyped, we everybody believed and we didn't do it. Like, that's a massive mental blow. Whereas if you go in with the mentality like, yeah dude, you know what, like this is going to be a really tough game, it's their best map, once we get on Dust 2 and Nuke, we know what we're capable of, and from there we have every possibility of closing the series out. So I just think it's really important that you have the right mentality heading into these sorts of scenarios, and if you do, then this result shouldn't be affecting Royalty too much.
I mean, I honestly couldn't agree with you more. I think if you're Royalty, I think the spirits are probably still high. You're not really taking this map. I don't want to say you're not taking it too seriously, but you're not taking the result too seriously. I mean, you're going to be playing 100% on the server, obviously, but you're not going to be taking the result too seriously if you lose 16-1 or 16-10 on your opponent's map pick. You're just going to take it on the chin and then move on to yours, and then I'm pretty sure that your confidence is going to be high. You're going to be feeling it. You know what you're capable of, exactly what you said. So that's exactly what I see from Royalty. But they're not done without a fight. Doobie's going to open up the round or two Deviant. So his Donkey's actually going to.
Oh my god!
But lately with the flank, he's good for 2, but God's not dead with the P250. But Slayer's going to come in late, and now it's Leggy left in a 1v2 situation once more. Slayer's position is known, but there is this long, late monster flank coming out from Zero Chance. The question is, does Leggy think that this is a possibility? He's actually going to completely disregard the bomb in the totality of the situation, and Slayer looks like he's going to have his number. 16-5, and Sinister5 went out map 1 as we expected.
Yeah, but not in that fashion, Nick. I mean, when you just look at the personnel on Royalty's side with the likes of Exy, Leggy, Doobie, these guys are heavy fraggers, so you would think that regardless of the map, their skill alone would be enough for them to be super competitive. But in the end, it actually doesn't really work out too well for them at all. They go down 16-5, an incredibly dominant performance from Sinister5 on that map. But like I said, it's all about the mentality for Royalty. What sort of a game did they actually expect to have on Overpass? You know, are they really tilted right now? They're like, yeah, no guys, we wrote that map off from the beginning. Let's go into Dust 2 where we know what we're capable of. So I'm really keen to see how things are going to be looking.
But that's exactly their job, right? Is to get out of their own heads, just treat this as a BO2 once more. Overpass never happened. They're going to scratch that completely. They're going to show up on Dust 2, put in a good performance, and I'm confident that we still probably see a Royalty 2-1. I'm going to say it now, like maybe they get completely whitewashed on Dust 2, and in that case, it's the first time I'm ever going to be wrong in my entire life. So yeah, we're going to see what happens in the server and on Dust 2, and possibly even Nuke as the decider.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we went the distance. Is actually exactly what I want. I want some entertaining CS for us to feast on for the rest of the evening. All right, Nick. Well, listen, I got a little bit of a special piece of content to play now for everybody who's hanging around in the break. I got an interview that I recorded with Elusive a couple days ago, but it still is very relevant. He talks about their run in the group stage. He talks about their matches in this stage as well, and then their goals and expectations for the event as a whole. So while we have a bit of a break here in between the two maps, I'm just going to be playing that interview. So guys, we'll be back afterwards, and enjoy. Elusive, you guys had a fairly sturdy run in the group stage. You guys, you won 5 of your matches. You placed second in the group, which is what I would imagine was probably the goal. Looking back on the group stage, how do you feel about your guys' performance?
I think overall we're pretty happy finishing second. Obviously, we've got 80k in our group, and you know, trying to say that we're gonna place first in that group is a bit unrealistic. I think for the guys doing it full time and the boys at 80k being the team that they are. So second was kind of always our goal.
Okay.
We walked away with 5 wins, 1 drew, and 2 losses. One of those losses being against 80k, obviously.
Yeah.
But we were a bit disappointed with only walking away with 5. I think we wanted to push for basically winning all the games except 80k. So we lost to Royalty and
Yes.
drew to Nibble.
So the royalty game was probably a bit of an unexpected loss, especially considering I remember we casted that game. It was quite a one-sided match in the end. They just catch you by surprise a little bit there.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately due to the nature of our team, the dynamic. We've got guys that are working and studying full time. So CS is very much, a hobby, something on the side, and we don't really commit as much time into the game as we could.
Yeah.
If we did it full time, and then obviously because of that, that will lead to inconsistencies in
Sure.
performances. And unfortunately, in that game against Royalty, we felt like we had a bit of an off game. But I mean, props to them; they played really well,
Yeah.
so they deserved the win regardless.
Yeah, they're definitely one of those up and coming teams to keep an eye on. But yeah, it was a fairly sturdy run, and actually, it didn't even cost you that much that you lost to Royalty in the end, because you still finished the group in second with 11 points. So in the long run, you still achieved your objective, and going into the next stage of the competition, you still end up where you would have been anyway. So at least it didn't cost you guys anything.
Yeah, 100%.
So, speaking of the next stage, it's the championship elimination stage. Of course, you've got your matchup tonight against Dynamic Esports, a team that personally I've been ranking you guys incredibly closely in recent times. Do you see it similarly?
Yeah, I think actually if you would call it the midfield, kind of, you've got ATK and Goliath, that would be your top two teams, and then after that, Energy, DNMK, and then us are pretty close. I think on any given day, the results can go any direction. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely rate them as a tough competition.
Okay, and just looking into this bracket a little bit now as we go forward in the competition here. You guys play Dynamic, and if we just do a little bit of hypothetical guesswork here for the sake of argument, let's say you beat them tonight, you're most likely going to play against Goliath in the next game. You mentioned you see them in sort of the same class as ATK, or they're in that similar situation as one another. Do you fancy yourselves against Goliath, or is that sort of like where, yeah, we'll do our best, but chances are we're not going to get across the line?
Yeah, look, we haven't played Goliath in. I think we played them in official once. I can't remember which map it was or when we played them. But ultimately, I don't see any team in the country as unbeatable. You look at a demo too, you find their gaps, you pick up their tendencies, and you
Sure.
try and play around that. So I mean, it's just the nature of the game. So if we do a little bit of homework on Goliath and we pitch up and we play our game, I think we can definitely walk away with a W. I mean,
Okay.
we've even caused upsets against 80K. I think
Yeah.
best of three is obviously a different matter, but if we pitch up and we play our game and we do our homework, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, cool. I really like that attitude as well. Then just finally, what are your goals and expectations for the event as a team?
I think realistically, once again, just purely based for the amount of time that we're putting in, and that we can commit, we pretty much made the team with the idea of not really pushing for number one, but instead hovering around like top three. So if we could finish top three, it would be a success for me. It depends, obviously. Like I would like to beat teams like Dynamic and teams like Energy, but I think I'd be more okay with losing to Goliath and to ATK, just purely because of how the rankings and stuff
Yeah.
are at the moment.
Cool. So you've got a very realistic grasp on the situation right now, and I think that's really important as well, because you set a precedent and you set expectations, and you want to be realistic with that as well, so that you don't create unnecessary disappointment. I think is an important way to look at it. It's probably something that you learned in your tenure in Bravado as well, but that's a conversation that we could go on for a while. There's actually one more thing I want to ask you about. Slayer and Lately, two of the most recent acquisitions in the team, two of the up-and-coming players in the South African scene. They're playing with yourself, Zero Chance, and Deviant, which are three of the most experienced players in the South African scene. How's that balance been? You've been really enjoying working with them?
Yeah, so we've obviously undergone a few lineup changes, and now we've gotten to the point where we've got the two youngsters, if you will. It feels weird for me saying that, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm part of the older generation now. But, yeah, no, they're incredibly skilled players. They've got a lot of potential. The nice thing about it is they're literally like sponges. So it's the all the experience and the knowledge that we pass down to them. They just listen, absorb it, and I think they bring a lot of firepower to the team, which is obviously very necessary, especially if you're tackling any of these top 3, top 4 teams.
Okay, well there we go. There you have it. Mr. Elusive, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate a little bit of input. It's great to get an insight into your great mind, the mastermind I like to refer to you as. You know, you got all the experience in the world now. Best of luck for tonight, and I'm keen to see how far you guys can take it here in the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Cool. Cheers, guys. I've done it again. My mic was muted in OBS. Nick, you could hear me, but the stream couldn't. Anyway, guys, like I was saying, that was just the interview that I had with Elusive a few days ago, and it still gets me every time the way that he says, he refers to Lately and Slayer as the youngsters in the team, and he's like, yeah, did I just call them youngsters? Does that mean I'm getting old? I think that's when you start to know, like, that's when it starts setting in.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about what Elusive has accomplished and what he did overseas and for hours in that sort of sense. Like he is a Butler in this roster along with Deviant and
Zero Chance. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a bit of a brain lag there, but yeah,
No
I think what he alludes to there quite he really dwells on it is the fact that Lately and Slayer, they're acting like sponges in that regard, which really means that they're really prospects for the future. If you give them a couple more months or maybe even a year upwards with this roster, they're really just going to soak up all that information and really look to be top players in the coming scene.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're really important for this team to be competitive. We saw actually both of the players hitting some great shots in the previous map and doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but it must be said that I think I saw both Zero Chance and Elusive also were popping off quite a lot on Overpass. I didn't see what the final scoreboard was. Deviant got his high impact kills, but everybody was chipping in. It's not like one person was going crazy, and that's how Sinister5 are going to be finding most of their success in the matches they play, where everybody is chipping in and contributing. So guys, if you are just joining us, we came off a very one-sided but entertaining Overpass where Sinister5 wiped the floor with Royalty. They won that 16-5 after a great first half on the T side. Nick, did they begin, was that 12-3 or 11-4, something along those lines?
11-4.
11-4, yeah. So yeah, it was like a really one-sided first half on the T side, and they continued from there on the T side, and now we're getting into Dust 2, which is Royalty's map pick, and a map, Nick, that they can ill afford to lose, otherwise they will be eliminated from the event, and Sinister5 will progress to the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, the loser gets metaphorical plane tickets back to their bedrooms, back to their beds to cry themselves to sleep. But it is going to be this mid play from Royalty that is definitely not what they want. EXE pushing the issue. He's good for 2, trying to 180 and take out Slayer. But Slayer's now, along with Lately on this B bomb side, tasked with anchoring it down. As the B pinch does come in, Doobie's going to emerge from the smoke. Bit of a messy kill to Slayer, but he's going to 180 and now it's Lately in the back of the bomb side. Very messy pistol round, but Lately gets dinked down. And the late rotate coming from Elusive. Doobie's trying to make it worse for wear, but at the end, Leggy and Doobie finish it out.
Yeah.
Pistol round goes the way of Royalty. Their second of the series. The pistol rounds have been very 50-50 in that regard. Both teams are winning them out fairly evenly, but this is exactly what Royalty need. They need to start stringing some rounds together, getting a healthy advantage in this map, and keep the confidence up and keep the confidence brewing for what's to come in the series.
I mean, that was just a straight up brawl in the pistol round. Oh, jeez, spinning around in spawn, Slayer spotted him for a second, looked pretty interesting. But that was just a straight up brawl in the pistol round, and the Glocks played into the hands of Royalty. I don't know if you noticed, it was quite funny what happened with XE in middle. He just continued fighting in CT, even though he was being shot in the back by Slayer.
Yeah.
And Slayer actually wasn't able to find the kill in time, so his teammate went down. You know how different the round could have been if he found that shot instantly. But there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in these games. And now Royalty get off to the start that they needed to on Dust 2 after how Overpass turned out. This is their map pick though. And like I said, Nick, we were a bit rushed for time as we jumped into this game, but this is such an important match. If you lose, you're eliminated. The whole year comes to an end. If you win, you secure at least top 6 in the country. really big feet. God's Not Dead charging on towards his B bomb side, catches lately in no man's land. Doobie takes down Slayer as well, and that's the B bomb side in full control of Royalty. Sinister5 left with no choice but to save.
I mean, something that we saw in the group was Royalty take this map actually a 16-8 victory, so quite a stomp in that regard. I think anything under like 16-9 is that fair to say that that's a stomp, or maybe that's a bit harsh to say stomp, but a convincing victory at that. So Royalty finished this matchup against Sinister5 in group 16-8, and the question is, are we going to see a similar scoreline? If Royalty are popping on the server, then maybe that is the case. But Sinister5, they're already won out map 1, as you said, and the loser of this series goes home. They are no longer in the tournament. They don't count themselves in the top 6 in the country, just as you mentioned prior. So Royalty, they definitely want nothing less than winning this map and taking it to a third, and then trying to win the series out henceforth. So they start off with the first 2 rounds, which is important, and then now they need to start getting the confidence up. I'm pretty sure that the confidence in TeamSpeak is going to be up. They're going to scrap Overpass completely, the 16-5 loss that they experienced, and they're going to treat Dust 2 as a completely new BO1, BO2 series.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
No push, they're pitching.
Whoa! So much damage being done here by both of the teams in the end as the dust settles here on Dust. There's only 2 players left for each of the sides. This is actually a really good start for Sinister5 as they manage to exchange evenly. And there's also still Elusive who's coming through middle looking to catch these players off guard potentially. They know where one of the players are on the B bomb side. How do they respond to that information though? Do they go all the way back to T-spawn? Do they try and go back down through lows? It's going to be the latter. And Elusive's able to take down the low HP Doobie lately, looking to take the fight as well while God's Not Dead is in transition. He hasn't been able to collect the bomb, so he has no choice but to continue to take this fight as he attempts to force lately off the angle, who manages to avoid it, but he still has a big job on his hands right now. Molly goes too deep. Lately's been able to push forward. He's going to swing out, but God's Not Dead with the patience will be able to come out on top, but a lot of damage done economically in that save round by Sinister5.
I mean, just that lowest pinch start going. I think they had 3 players pushing lows and 1 player pushing uppers, so it really worked out. Ultimately, a great strat there, pulled out from Sinister5. Does great economical damage from Royalty. I mean, if Royalty made that round clean, they would have had a very clean buy into next round if they lost. But if they lose this round, they're going to have a really tough buy going into next. But Leggy's going to be flashed in towards long, but Elusive wins out that duel, not even being blinded by the flashes in that regard. So
Yeah.
it is 3-0 to Royalty, but it is 5 men alive for Sinister5 in the 4th round, which does make it look like Sinister5 could post the first with this double AWP setup that they're rocking. Triple AWP.
Yeah, not for long.
Double AWP. Double AWP, yeah.
Deviant's just playing with you there. Wants to see how many times he can get you to change your answer. But nice attention to detail there from him to grab that AWP in the smoke and just throw it over the top to make sure there's no chance that Royalty can pick it up and continue to use it in this round. And now that Sinister5 have long control, as they always do, they just post Deviant here by himself, allow the AWPer to focus towards elbow, covering shorts, and now they've got 0 chance in Goose as well. So a strong setup in play here towards A. As I say that, though, 0 chance thinks better of it as he wants to get a bit more control towards middle. Repositions into CT. And Sinister5 just playing the waiting game here. They know that they've got the man advantage, so they don't have to take any unnecessary fights. In the meanwhile, Royalty have got that 3-1 split going on there. Core 3 pushing up short on towards the save bomb side. Oh, they catch Elusive in transition. He's trying to get above the smoke, but he ends up offering himself up. Big frag evens out the scoreline, or rather the number of players alive. But Doobie looking to go further. All he is good for the 1-for-1 trade.
Now it's a 3v3 retake, and there are 2 players close towards short, and they're going to hear all the sound cues that the players are hightailing it towards long, and they're actually going to hard clear it, which allows for this info play to come in. There is 1 player over towards Gandalf that is God's Not Dead, so if they take these early engagements, they can triple peek these 3 players on the bomb site, but there is only 1 kit, that being on lately. Slayer has got that AWP, so he can post over towards short.
Oh no.
God's Not Dead's already taking contact. They line up for Deviant, and he actually 180s, he gets the 3rd. And that was Royalty's round to lose without a doubt, but Sinister5, and more so than Deviant, win out the round pretty much single-handedly.
Yeah. I mean, that was just an unfortunate sequence of events for Royalty, the way that the players had lined up, and it got really easy for Deviants as he just held down mouse button 1. We saw yesterday, though, this is clearly one of Royalty's post-plant positions of choice, where they get God's Not Dead behind the Gandalf box, and then the rest of the players towards short. Hasn't worked out for them in the past few times we've seen it, Nick. And look at their money now. It's been reset, even though they won 3 consecutive rounds. They're going to have to save here because of all that damage that Sinister5 did in the eco round a few rounds ago. So, nice response here from Sinister5 after losing the first 3. Like you said a couple rounds ago, these two teams did face off in the group stage on this very map. And Royalty won that 16-8.
One thing I do want to mention that we saw during the group stage game, I mean, that was the first game we actually casted for VS Masters Season 5. So
yeah.
One thing we saw on Sinister5 CT side is their lack of util retention. I don't know if you can think that far back, but that was one thing that really jumped out at me. It sort of jogged my memory when Zero Chance mollied short pretty much for no reason, with about like a minute 20 on the clock. He just mollied short, and then I remembered. But we saw Sinister5 that expel all the util early round to take long control, to smoke off upper turns, as well as molly it and re-smoke it, etc. So by the time the B hit did come in, all they had to defend was flashes, and all they had to retake was flashes. So that's something to keep in mind later on in the half. If we see Royalty running away with it, you will see that later on in the rounds, you're going to see Sinister5. Maybe they don't have that smoke or that molly for the retake, or maybe they don't have that flashbang to hit the bomb site with, or something along those lines. So it's something just to keep in mind, just to keep an eye out for when Sinister5 are trying to take control or even try to retake a bomb site. They really didn't grasp that concept over in the group stages. But as we said prior, I have no doubt Elusive would have watched over the demo. Maybe they fine-tuned those sort of things.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to see a much closer matchup. And I have no doubt it is going to be a closer matchup.
Yeah, I think those are great points that you make there, Nick, and certainly things to consider, going into this game. Small things that can be adjusted that end up making drastic changes to the result, right? Or having drastic impacts to the end result. So heading into another full gun round, yeah, it's actually... this could be we had the full gun round a couple of rounds back. Royalty had the AWP on Leggy already, so going to have the luxury of that weapon once again. Sinister5 though, not contesting long as much. This time they've got a few players towards short, but Royalty shifting things up a gear. They've already got 2 players who have pushed aggressively as they take short control. And this is something that we've seen Royalty do quite a lot on their T side, is they take short right at the beginning of the round, so as to starve the CTs for information and also get them preparing for the hit to come through. Lately, trading blows with Doobie through the smoke will be coming out on top of that little skirmish. Always feels like such a 50-50 battle when you're spraying with somebody else on opposite side of a smoke. Just you could literally just close your eyes and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Would have the same result probably.
It's actually just Hail Marys, right? That you're throwing the Kalashnikov bullets through the smoke. But Royalty, they look like they're lining up for a late long, and the flash that pops through the doors will blind Deviant if he is holding this angle. So he's actually going to choose to drop off at the perfect possible time. So the flash doesn't blind him, and he's good for at least one. On the spray, it's a bit messy, but a flash comes in for his teammate. God's Not Dead is going to cower in the corner towards blue and actually find Deviant. Possibly a bit of a preemptive peek there, but either as it may, Zero Chance going to try and make a play over towards Goose. He takes out EXE, and the CTs know the last 2 positions of the Ts, and lately, low HP, he can try and make a play through the smoke. He is actually going to try go towards the outside of it, but him being low HP is actually good for 1. Leggy now on a 1v3 turn 1v2. He knows Zero Chances on the bomb site. Slayer's position is unknown. He's just going to walk up here, but he hasn't retrieved the bomb. 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Slayer's going to win out the gunfights.
Well played as well by both of the Sinister5 players not to give him any unnecessary fights. Like, you literally force him to push all the way into the open before you start taking the fight with him. So the trade is always on the table. And that's Sinister5 drawing level here once again. So, diminishing that early start that Royalty found with the early 3-0. And Royalty reduced to pistols here once again.
And the long take's coming out once again. Nokia's already fallen to the flames. I don't think they know if EXE's out towards blue. I don't think they do, because Deviants is not even questioning this position. God's Not Dead's going to fall. EXE is still not... Okay, EXE is just chilling. He's only got a Glock, so... I think he's probably missed the timing.
Yeah, fair enough, because as soon as he comes around that corner, it's still going to be too much distance between him and Deviant for really to have an effect. Oh man, Elusive. He's on point tonight, man.
He's been hitting his shots.
He must be one of the more intimidating players to go up in an official against in local CS at the moment. Like, seriously, I'm not even joking. It's just, it would be such a, like a mental thing you have to overcome when you're going in a game against Elusive. It's actually something I wanted to point out on Overpass. He was playing lowers on the T side, and it just must be such a nightmare for the CT player who's tasked with covering lowers when you know that he's the T pushing at you round in and round out. I wouldn't like that job.
Yeah, not at all.
Could see the Glock come in for Xe here. Yeah, this should be a kill. I wouldn't even mind if he went for the knife.
He's knifing.
Oh,
Knife. Yes, let's go.
He gets the knife
Love
kill.
some content.
And a bit of patience as well pays off in the long run, right?
I mean, you baited 3 of your teammates, so fair. Good job.
Yeah, they'll take that though. I mean, because he only gave up, what, that's 3 kills is $900. He gets 1,800, so it's all worth in the end. And now he has an M4 as well, which he drops across to Xe. Or, Xe was the player who got the knife, rather, of course. No armor,
It's the
though.
mental game.
No armor.
You know, it's the mental game.
Indeed.
Yeah, no armor, but Leggy's actually able to win that on two.
Oh,
He
how
can
does he get
actually
across
a bomb
there?
plant now.
Yeah, he actually might be able to find a bomb plant. Is he going to be able to get this kill on the CT who's pushing forward? It's elusive. He takes him down. He has a Desert Eagle as well, which means he has that one-shot headshot potential. But you can see Sinister5 with the attention to detail, with the discipline in place. Neither of them go for the jump peek, Nick. As soon as you bring that jump peek to the table, he can take your head clean off, and then it's a 1v1. And it's actually quite tough as the CT making your way up that ramp onto the A site when there's already a T player up there, because he can take a couple different angles. So nice discipline there and good awareness from Sinister5. You can see they're looking really well oiled tonight.
100%, but that knife kill that EXE got's actually quite important. I thought he was going to buy the AWP. I was going to say, yeah, you know,
There we go, it
thinking
enabled the
long
AWP.
term, buying, like knifing him gets more money so you can buy the AWP, but that's not the case. But it does look like Roti are leaning towards the B bomb sides of the map. The 4 players going towards uppers. The last one's going to come join them late. They're going to actually do a B pop, smoking the molly quite late and flashing through. And Doobie entering perfectly, takes down Slayer, and Leggy helps out with taking down Lately. So now Lately takes down Donkey in the meantime, but now it's a 3v4 retake, and we don't have to talk about how notorious Dust 2 is. Dust 2B bomb sites is hard to retake. I mean, pretty much everyone knows this, and that's exactly why Sinister5 are choosing to save. We're looking at even pickings. 4-4 is the score.
Yeah, important round win here for Royalty as they get back to winning ways after that 4 consecutive round win spree for Sinister5. And they just go back to the old faithful, the B exec. Important to always keep that in the pocket. And what's impressive is that they had relative ease getting into the B bomb side, even though there were 2 CT players there from the start of the round. You know, often we see teams sort of switching between 2 players and 1 player with the extra player watching in middle. But Sinister5 stock standard has been 2 players defaulting at B at the start of the round. And having 3 players towards A. They're not actually playing super hands-on towards middle. And maybe that's where Royalty can look to exploit them with a few mid to B hits, and then you sort of isolate those players on the B bomb side. With the way the doors have been flipped, it makes it a bit more difficult to hold as well. And then you can maybe try and make those splits work if you're Royalty, change the setup from split to 5, and then go back to the long takes. So let's see how that's going to be playing out.
Oh, the long engagements early. The battle of the AWPers, Elusive against Leggy. Both trade. Actually, Leggy's the only one to fire an AWP shot. He misses his. And early map control, pretty much 50-50. Usually the T's have control of where they have control, and CT same could be said about them. Short control has been taken. Neither has long. Deviant is pushing the issue. He tags down Donkey with a decent nade, tagging him down to 85, but EXE is going to throw the avant-garde hinge smoke on the door, and they're going to allow them to cross up towards short, and they're going to take short once more. I think it is Zero Chance. No, it's Elusive. Posted on the short angle. So if he's not flashed or mollied off, he's definitely going to punish you in that sort of situation. But this is a pretty important round for both sides. I mean, if Sinister5 lose this round, they're going to have to eco, and Royalty, they're able to reinvest into next. So more so an important round for Sinister5 than it is for Royalty, but looks like Royalty are going to try to set up this A fake, possibly a drop towards CT, and take out Zero Chance towards that position. but they're actually just going to throw a smoke and a molly and come out mid doors. And Doobie takes out Slayer, and Zero Chance catches 2. And lately, in the meantime, and just like that, the B hit crumbles. The mid to B, as you said prior, it's really something that they could lean on. But 2 players from Sinister5 really are the thorns in Royalty's side.
And Sinister5 that time actually did have a player in CT and Zero Chance, so in the end they did actually have somebody in close proximity to deal with the hit once it came through. So nice change-ups from Sinister5 as well, not being like really predictable with their setups on the CT side here, which means that they're not going to be getting caught off guard by any preset strats like that. 5-4. Royalty won the round before that, but Sinister5 get back to winning ways. They have a full buy at their disposal again. And just looking at the frags, Donkey with only 1 kill. The rest of his teammates have found a couple, but he's struggling to find his footing here on Dust. And Dust can actually be one of those really punishing maps as well, it feels like, when you just can't hit your shots, nothing goes your way, and it just can become a nightmare like very quickly, I feel like.
Yeah. But I think Donkey is one of those players where he really comes to life on the CT side. I think he entries on T side, so an entry in a game is very hit and miss. You either get it seems like you either get a frag and die, or you just look like an idiot running into a site and getting shot in the back, sort of thing. So Royalty are going to try for this bees, but Doobie is actually going to jump through the CT smoke and tap down Slayer and try to force the issue, but now Zero Chance and Elusive, they actually take down this A hit completely, but Zero Chance slow over towards Goose. They line up for him. God's not dead in EXE. Line 2 free kills on a platter. Now it's Leggy left once again in a 1v3. It looks to be 6-4 to be the score in Sinister5's favor.
It feels like
Zero Chance going massive again.
Yeah, it feels like Royalty needed the AWPer in the aggressive party there so that he could hold the angle. Because these Sinister5 players, they're like, yeah, okay, you can execute up short. We're just not going to take any fights. We're just going to sit and wait for your util to expire, and then we're going to peek out and take you down. Both Zero Chance and Elusive just sat and waited for those players to push forward, and they had the crossfire set up. They played off of one another really nicely as well. So that was a solid defense on the A bomb side for Sinister5.
They're really not overcommitting, which I have to give them massive props for, because it's so often where a good flash from your teammates and you can peek, but that doesn't have, like, Zero Chance is in Goose, he can't really fight. If he tries to peek out, he's wide, he's open to so many angles. The player possibly posting him from short, as well as the people running up elbow. So he's just sitting tight, and they already had the man advantage when the hit came in. So there was really no need for him to take the early duels, but lately he's going to take one over towards EXE and take him out the equation. But Doobie is going to take out Elusive without Zero Chance once again. He needs to go big. He absolutely popped on Overpass. I remember his entries in the B bomb site. Jeez. I wonder if Sinister5 was saying, like, just run B, you know?
Yeah, even on this map, he's gotten off to a good start, but the scouts are doing the damage. God's not dead, lands another follow-up. Donkey's taking down Deviants as well. All of a sudden, it's a 2v4, and look at the response here from Sinister5. They're charging up middle, trying to chase down the bomb carrier, but lately is too late to the party, and these scoped weapons are just raining hell on Sinister5. This was just a mere eco round for Royalty, but they've made it look so easy. 4 versus 1 lately. Left by himself, has to save this weapon. Look at the money on Sinister5. It's actually not sitting too pretty right now, Nick.
I mean, great round from Royalty in that regard. They literally just took the aim duels with the scouts, and Doobie just running up short there, like scoped in, just takes Elusive's head off. Got to give him massive props for that, and just winning out the aim duels on Royalty, and Doobie's not even going to let Lately save the AK. So now the Sinister5 economy is absolutely in the dumps. Deviant is the only one with considerable money above the 4K mark, but they're going to have to eco into this, maybe even choose to force, because Lately's on a double eco regardless. So I assume Zero Chance has just purchased up a smoke for the cross and a flash for the long corner. Maybe that's the play, but he's been blocked, so that's a bit of a rip.
Thankfully for Sinister5, nobody was actually spotting middle, so it doesn't make much of a difference in the end. It's not like the info is there for Royalty that as many players crossed as actually did. Look at Deviant, he's been able to push all the way up middle, yeah. And now Leggy's actually spotting down, and there's also Doobie who's checking lowers, although now he focuses his attention towards the B bomb side. He's able to get the double spray down before he goes down to Elusive, and this is where Deviant can activate as well, but he's been spotted. So they're going to be able to take him down. Unfortunate there for Deviant that he couldn't get something more done in that situation. And it seems like Royalty have dodged a hypothetical bullet in this case.
Yeah, that situation was just like protect the bomb carrier. Leggy was in T-spawn getting the bomb. They knew four people have pushed uppers, so he was just screaming for help, and guys thought that helped them out and was able to get 2 in the round, I think, maybe 2 or 3, but either as it may, 6-all's the score, and now we're seeing Sinister5. They finally invested into this round, so they do have some inferior weaponry, that being the MP9 on lately and their FAMAS on Struggle. I mean on Slayer, rather. I saw Struggle in chat, that's why I thought Struggle was Slayer, that's why I was so confused. But shout out to Mark.
There we go.
But as you said, that this mid-to-B could be something that they could abuse. They just run completely straight down middle.
You can see Zero Chance has the inclination that could have been the case as well, as he starts to expend some of his utility. Smoke to extinguish the fire just gives those T players a bit more room to work with, and it also just forces Zero Chance off the angle. And now they're going to try and force their way forward with an underarm smash through the smoke, completely blinds up the player on the opposite side there. Doobie off the back of that is going to activate as he pushes through the tunnel. He finds the first and the second as well. He's been on point this whole game, Nick. He pitched up on overpass as well. He topped the server, or topped the charts for his team at least on the first map. Here he is again, doing great work. He's got 14 kills in 13 rounds.
And that's exactly what he said in his interview. He said he's confident playing against teams like Sinister5, teams like WRG, teams like DNMK. So
yeah,
he's definitely one of the star players on Royalty side. I think him, Leggy, and EXE are the 3 that should be looking at the top of the scoreboard, pretty much in and out every game. So I think he's definitely one of those players where he can literally put the team on his back and carry them through. And he's attempting to do so to the best of his ability. I mean, as you said, he's 14-8 currently in this game. No one on Sinister5 besides lately has reached double digits. And the same can be said about Royalty, right? It's literally just Doobie up ahead. Donkey, he's 3-9. Again, I think he's one of those players that really comes to life on the CT side, where you can really see the effect he does. I mean, we think about back to Overpass. He was that B player, but on 6 points of health, he's still good for 2 in that sort of regard. So I think Donkey's really comes to life on the CT side. But it is 6-7 towards in favor of Royalty, and we got 3 pistols on the side of Sinister5 and the saved M4 and AWP from the previous. And lately he's been throwing the smoke all the time. Every single round he's been throwing the smoke and trying to push something behind it, and that's exactly what he's going to do once again. But Royalty seem to have the read. Doobie catches Slayer, and on the continuation spray catches Lately, and this late lowest push from Zero Chance could yield him a free kill, but it doesn't. EXE has his whereabouts about him, and Elusive is actually going to drag one back. So now the rotates have come in. Doobie's going to push the issue over towards B, try catch Deviants in transition. Maybe the call is actually to go back A. The bomb's just committed towards B, but they're actually going to hightail it back towards A. They're doing ring around the Rosie and T-spawn.
Yeah, sorry, I was just dealing with some technical stuff in the background, but all has been resolved, and I've got my attention on the game here once again. 3v1, been the save round for Sinister5, where they've been able to find 2 kills and an AWP. The question is, does Elusive hang around here?
I mean, he does have a molly, but that molly... Oh, okay. I mean, I respect it. I mean, he gets 1 kill, is full HP, gets a kill, falls back, plays the 1v2 with the AWP. Or maybe he just dies. Yeah.
That's that thing about casting a game with Elusive as well, is like, if that was any other player, I would have been like, yeah dude, as the fire came in, you probably should have backed off, you know, back and saved the AWP on short sort of thing. But when it's Elusive, you're like, bro, you know what, fair play, do whatever you like, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize your plays. Oh, jokes aside, the entry's coming through long, very aggressive from Royalty, but the numbers are there for Sinister5 as well. They got 3 players of the owners. The util starts to rain in. Frags are starting to be traded. Donkey gets 3. The one of those 3 certainly wasn't intentional, but the other 2 was certainly on point. And now, they're looking to cross aggressively, looking to get ahead of the smokes. Donkey needs to take a few deep breaths after that one, because he's going to go down a bit unnecessary there. Overzealous perhaps. Both of the Sinister5 players have rotated as well. The boost is going to come up here, but Doobie is going to be spotting them out. Zero Chance didn't do his stretching before he jumped, so he wasn't able to get high enough, and Slayer's going to get taken down as well.
6-9 is the score, and this is exactly what Royalty need coming into the second half. More often than not, Duster is seen as that as that T-sided map. Quite often, it's quite easy to find out where the rotator is and hit the bomb site with one less player.
Yeah.
But I mean, Royalty, they certainly can put up a good CT fight, and we saw it was 16-8 in groups, and Royalty, they had quite a good CT hold in that sort of in that matchup. So Doobies really showed up, as we've said. The rest of the team are lagging behind a little bit. I mean, Leggy and God's Not Dead are both 10-8, so. But, oh, okay. 3 people pushing middle and 2 people on B. They're playing a retake A completely, so, I mean, it's going to be a weird pistol round, to say the least. 2 smokes for the long cross, and it's going to be a 5v5 both plants.
Well, Sinister5 are going to be walking into a completely vacant A bomb site, but there's a super quick flank coming through here, and the flank has got numbers as well. They're actually waiting for the support flash to come through. If you couldn't see the players' names, you would say those were T players flashing the longs, but no, it's the retake coming to fruition, and the CTs are landing the shots, but Deviant lands a couple of his own as well. Donkey looking to be the difference maker, and that's exactly what he will do. Exy finds the last frag as well to secure the pistol round for his team. 10-6. Royalty get off to the perfect start here in the second half. Remember, it is 1-0 in the series.
Nuts on the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, he's very quickly getting himself back up on the server here. How many kills is that? Now that's 9 kills, so he's back up there with the rest of his team now.
And now since the 5, I mean they got the bomb plant, so okay, they're just gonna eco once more. Maybe they, as we spoke about last. Oh, that's a missed cross smoke. But as you spoke about last night, it's about that, like when you're surmounting a comeback, you want to be in the best position possible. So I think Sinister5 are taking that sort of approach. They're accepting the 11-6 deficit more often than not, and they're just gonna try and get whatever work they can get done with the Deagles. But they're gonna want those AKs, those AWPs into the first proper buy round. But Zero Chance can still get something done up close and personal with this P250.
It's the same thing we saw them do on Overpass after they lost the T-pistol but got the bomb plant. They went for the long-term investment. They haven't been able to get much done with these pistols either, as Royalty have done a good job just making sure that the fights they take are heavily in their favor. As I say, that Deviant's good for 1. How about no? So there will be enough money for the glass cannon AWP if Slayer wants the weapon. And considering on Dust 2, it wouldn't be a bad choice, but he's going to go for the AK, make sure that he gets some extra utility as well. Sinister5 have everything they could hope for, and these gun rounds are actually really important when you're behind like they are right now. You're going to get a big boost of confidence and momentum as well if you can win the first gun round when you're making a comeback. Lose this, it's 12-6, a save round 13-6, and it becomes for pretty tough reading. And we're going to have some more long aggression here as Deviant leads the charge, facing first. He's going to find the frag. And Elusive is there to make sure that he gets traded as well, revenging his fallen comrade. Or rather, avenging his fallen comrade. And the response from Royalty is immediately to disengage from the bomb site. Lots of damage done through the smoke, but look at Lately's position here. He's gone back out of long. He doesn't expect the second player, though. He changes to his knife as soon as he gets the frag. And he will certainly be ruining that decision as the bomb gets planted, but with only 55 health between these two Sinister5 players. This is very doable for Royalty. Leggy and Exy both going to be retaking from long. Zero Chance rooted in behind Gandalf. Elusive sitting on short as he drops down into CT, realizing that both of these players are going to be coming from CT. He wants to take this fight on the angle. He finds the first, looking to take down Exy. He's going to be able to do that as well. He keeps himself alive with 2 health, Nick, and he finds 2 frags in the process. What a beast.
What a beast, exactly. I mean, just great showing there from Sinister5. Royalty attempted a late long take. I think the flash that probably popped above the rafters on long. Maybe it would have been better if they threw a bit of a flatter flash. It would have blinded the player that got so close. That was Deviant. He was good for 2. Actually, he was good for 1, but there was no players that were actually blind in that regard. But they're all rushing up middle, and Elusive is the first to fall. Just as we were singing his praises.
Yeah. Full control found by Sinister5. It's actually quite an interesting decision that they go for that full B hit in the anti-eco. I mean, sometimes that can be very costly if there's a stack. This is a 5v3 though, and there's the AK on God's Not Dead, but some late util coming in is going to be making their job a bit more difficult. They've got 1 molly as well. Potentially should be throwing that towards the back of platform. Slayer finds the first, and now it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath. All of the players trying to enter in through the same entry point. Slayer picks up a quad kill, pads the stats. And Sinister5 close out the round. I mean, hey, that could have gone very wrong very quickly if Royalty had stacked on B, though. That was a ballsy call.
I mean, if you think back to the groups, remember what Royalty did? They got the full eco victory.
Yeah, I do remember
So
that.
that's exactly what I was thinking. So,
Watch
but
out.
ultimately, yeah, you never know what could happen. But we got the AWP on Leggy, so that's something new to look into this. They're choosing to double push short and have the AWP posted along from sight. So, bit of a different approach coming out from Royalty in this round.
Sinister5 with full long control, one player left towards the mid doors. That's Slayer. He's going to be tasked with doing the lurking right now, and Royalty not being too proactive in their defense right now, sort of just sitting back and waiting for Sinister5 to make their way across onto the bomb site. And because there's no doubles wall of smokes, that means God's Not Dead has an angle, but Doobie just charges through the middle doors. Should have actually just waited for Exy a bit more to clear it out, because he was coming through the tunnels just a bit slower than his teammates. So now it's the one-man advantage for Sinister5 as the bomb goes down.
Leggy is over towards Gandalf, but oh, this short players are just going to disrespect the money. They're going to push straight through, which makes it a 3v4. Leggy's going to emerge from Gandalf and get one of his own. So now it's a 3v3, but there's a player over towards Goose. Here's actually going to get clipped, but God's Not Dead, and God's Not Dead is now good for possibly 2. Deviant to the bomb side, only good for 1, but XC comes in with the trade, and now it's lately left in a 1v1. The bomb is planted for long, and there's no kits on Leggy. He's going to tap the bomb, try find a kit in the meantime, and spots the arm of Lately, but can't retrieve the kits in time, and that's the 9th posted on the board for Sinister5, already better than what we saw in groups.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we certainly would have expected this, especially considering what we saw on Overpass. They were far more convincing, and it would have been an easy prediction to make that they would have done better than 16-8. They now draw within 2 rounds. I feel like Royalty just need to be a little bit more patient, Nick, in particular in their retakes. They're just being slightly over hasty right now. Need to just see exactly where everybody is on the minimap and allow them to get into position before starting to make unnecessary moves. It happened twice there, the way that Doobie rushed through middle doors while Exy was still clearing upper and lower dark. And then it happened again with the players who pushed up short before the CT player could actually have had an impact. So if they had just waited a few more seconds, it could have been very different. Now it's the full equal for Royalty, and Elusive is just faking towards long, does a bit better than that. He picks up a double kill, so he pulls the rotations out of B as his teammates walk into a vacant bomb site. And Sinister5 should have no trouble in closing out this eco round. They would love to stop God's Not... Oh, it's Leggy. They'd love to stop Leggy from saving this AWP, though. That would be an objective they certainly would have on their mind. And Elusive is certainly... in a position to make that a reality, and you could see now immediately Leggy starts pushing short because he knows that Elusive's on long. But hang on a second, there's already 2 players coming up short. There's no ways Leggy gets to save the SORP unless he can land some really nutty shots, because he's going to get it he will be pursued from multiple angles here as Sinister5 start to make their way forward. And you can see lately he's just boxing him in. He's not giving him a point of exit.
Like, I'm a fan of the hunt, but in the same space I'm not, because if another player falls, then your economy is not great. I mean, I know Deviant's on 6.2k, lately he's on 2.8k, but he's just been dropped at 8k from Deviant. So, I mean, if you drop another player, then you're going to have another player on a Galil in this round, and you're coming up against a full buy round from Royalty. I mean, Leggy is on the glass cannon, so that is something to keep in mind. But early long control does go the way of Royalty, and this is the first time we've actually seen them win out this battle. They tried the late long, it didn't quite work, and now they've just gone for the straight up long take, and it's worked to full effect. And now Leggy's posted up onto elbow from Car, so now we're seeing a bit of an interesting and a different mid round, and we've actually seen Sinister5 lurk out middle without throwing any util, and that's allowed for Doobie and Leggy to fall with pretty much no response. Now it's EXE all in his lonesome, and he's getting pursued from all areas of the map, and he's not even going to be good for 1 as he gets taken out by 0 chance, and it's going to be 11-11.
Notice
the score, and Royalty definitely don't want to go home 2-0 losses.
Notice how beautifully coordinated that was from Sinister5, the way that the players pushed up middle, and only as they were starting to enter through the double doors and through the window, that's when the players started to push through through the tunnels. Way too often I see the players pushing through tunnels into the B-bomb site before the players coming up mid have actually even reached the entry points of that B-bomb site. So really nice coordination there from Sinister5, and it looks really solid and well oiled from them now. This T side has certainly found its footing. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard, they've won the past 5 consecutive rounds, even though they lost the pistol and the follow-up thereafter. Just like we saw on Overpass, as soon as they got the weapons in their hands on the T side, it became a different dynamic altogether.
I mean, yeah, we see a new Sinister5 in this map, right? It's just as you said, their T side looks like it's completely different. They were 9-6 down, and they've already posted 5, and that was only after the first 2 rounds lost by Royalty, and they're just going to go back to this B hit against the pistols. Elusive is going to actually get quite a nice triple entry kill. He's going to switch out to the Glock and get the 4th, and now he's on for the ace. Doobie's uppers, but he's actually going to get taken out by 0 chance, but that spray transfer from Elusive, he's rolling back the years, he's in the server, he's posted 12 pretty much single-handedly for Sinister5.
Yeah, that 12th round was certainly on the shoulders of the IGL, but again, they pushed into the B bomb side in the anti-eco round, and there was a stack there this time, Nick. That could have got dicey very quickly. In the end, Sinister5 make it look easy, but I really would implore them to be a bit more disciplined in their anti-eco rounds, get more information before making such commitments. Anyway, 12-11, Sinister5 pull ahead here. It's been a while since they've been ahead on Dust 2. And they're just going to be getting super aggressive to shorts. And this is their response to Royalty taking long control, right? They identify, okay, they probably had 3 players there at the start of the round, so that means that short has to be available for the taking. And they have indeed secured that part of the map.
Which does allow for the avant-garde smokes to be thrown in and a possible short take to come in, or possible fake, a mid to B drop, something along those lines. But it seems like Gosnanthed and Doobie, they're going to double peek this bottom mid angle to see if anyone's out. They're going to find that no one's home except for Slayer's AWP towards bottom middle. But it does look like Sinister5 are going to go back for this A pop rather. Smoke towards CT coming out from Elusive, and a flash to come in allows for someone to drop towards CT and to pincer these players on the ramp. That is exactly what's going to happen. Beyond the smoke is Gosnanthed peppering bullets through, but Donkey and Leggy open up their accounts in the round. Leggy with 2. He's going to repost on the bomb site, but he's actually going to get caught up by Slayer. Maybe a bit too preemptible. The peak there coming out from Leggy, but be there as it may, it's Slayer and Elusive left in a 2v4 post plant, and they are stuck on the bomb site. They've got no util to hold off these players.
Yeah, really important for them to do exactly that as Royalty charge their way forward. Elusive left in the 1v3, but he's just stuck between a rock and a hard place. He tries to force the issue and see if he can isolate one of them and take an early fight, but he ends up going down. And enough time for the defuse to be found, as there are kits on all 3 of the remaining players. You can see XE deciding as to whether he should drop the smoke on the molly there, or if he had enough time to wait it out.
Yeah, there's no Cloud9 happening here. Remember that Cloud9 game on Overpass where like 3 of them died to the molly?
Yeah.
And they could have just waited it out.
Yeah, oh man. PTSD.
Yeah, good times, good times.
12. Royalty draw things level once again. One thing they haven't been able to do in the past couple of rounds is string a few together. They win one and then Sinister5 gets straight back at it. So Royalty need to start getting some consistency here on their CT side, as they do secure long control.
And that is something we see Royalty winning out quite often. Besides the first couple rounds where they tried for that late long take, they never really found success with that. So they've just gone for the straight long take. Obviously, they've had the spawns to do so. You're not really going to molly long doors if you don't have the spawn. You're just going to be caught in the cross. So as soon as Royalty have been going for this long take straight off the bat, they've been winning it out and getting the early engagements to go in their favor. Lately, is on 1 HP. He is traded up to the AWP that's been dropped by his teammates. Sin5 are coming for a late long take. Donkey caught out of position, only on 22 points of health. He's caught out, but Leg is only good for 1. And on the bomb site, God's not dead. He's trying to get something done, but he's going to get tapped down by Deviant. Oh. Doobie going to try press the issue, but he is caught out. Lately now, still on 1 point of health. Gets his first kill of the round, and now it's EXE left in a 1v2 situation, and he's going to be creepy crawling up towards this A ramp position, trying to get something done. Going to be as quiet as possible. Seems like he slipped past the radar, but lately with a good adjustment could catch him out if he spots the head. But EXE is playing the waiting game. He's going to peer out and catch. Lately looking the wrong way now. No man's land is Slayer, and a 1v2 clutch for EXE. As easy as you like. Execute clutch command 1. Royalty 13 rounds on the board to Sinister5's 12.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, this XE kid, you know, and I don't say that as like in a condescending way, I just mean he's a very young player. He's been impressing me a lot over the past few months. There was a lot of discipline in that clutch, and you could see how cognizant he was of the threat of the AWPer, holding his angle, and that's why he was just clearing it pixel by pixel, and he caught Lately off, and then he knew he had to activate straight away to try and catch that other T player off, and that's why he just pushes so quickly up that ramp, and he takes down that remaining Sinister5 player, closes out the clutch, and gets Royalty ahead here once again. They need to win 3 more rounds to take this game to a 3rd map, which of course is Nuke. Remember, this is a tournament live on the line match right now for both of these teams. Whoever wins this goes into the top 6. Losers eliminated. Everything to play for right now, as it's another full buy round for both of these teams.
Yeah, an extremely important buy round at that, right? I mean, pretty much whoever loses this round is Eco next. So Royalty, they don't want to be conceding a 14th possibly to Sinister5, and the same can be said about Sinister5. They don't want to be conceding possibly a 15th to Royalty. So it does look like Sinister5 are grouping up for a possible B hit, but Elusive is going to try press the issue towards middle and try sell a little short take to come in. But there's only one player on this B bomb site. There's actually no one on the B bomb site in totality, but the fight towards Elusive was taken by God's Not Dead as this B hit is going to come in. EXE is going to drop the smoker char by time for the rotates and flash in behind it. He's going to take the first fight, but Slayer's going to take him out full blind, and now the retake is going to have to come in. A 4v5 retake at that is going to be very tough for the CTs to try to do it, and that's exactly why they're choosing to save the guns. Donkey can drop over an M4 to EXE in next round, so that is definitely the thought process into this. They're going to save all 4 rifles, and Sinister5 don't have an idea that they're going to do that just yet, but they should allow Royalty to save them in that regard. So it should be 13-13 is the score, but I should see another full investment from both teams coming into next round.
Yeah, again, we have that same theme where Sinister5 are just have this knack for winning a round immediately after Royalty win a round, so they're not letting them get ahead with this game. They're not letting them charge or steam ahead. It's keeping them chomping at the bit. And Sinister5 going to be keeping all 5 players alive as the bomb explodes.
Ooh, dropping bars.
That's a level 1 bar, Nick.
That's a level 1 bar. But you know, we take time to warm up.
Yeah. I mean, hey, 2nd map, I should be warm already by now. But 13-13 full buy round for both of these teams. Royalty with it all to play for, considering they're a map down right now, having a bit of a technical glitch with the HUD where it's not showing the round win or the map 1 count, the map 1 count at the top of the scoreboard, or maps 1, whatever it is right now. I don't really care. But it's glitching out. But Sinister5 are ahead after they won the first map 16-6. It was like domination on overpass. Way closer here on Dust 2, and it's going to be another late long take from Sinister5. We didn't see many late long takes from Royalty. Their response was, okay, we're going to go short once we've lost long. Sinister5 are happy to just bide their time, and they're going to be popping 4 players through the smoke off the back of the flashbang, hoping to catch this player off guard, but Donkey stands true. He's able to find one, and it seems like Royalty want to be proactive in their defense. God's Not Dead comes out off the back of the flashbang, and he's able to get one as well. Now it's a 3 versus 3, and there's so much time left on the clock. Sinister5 have options available, but those options are quickly diminishing as there's a fast push up middle coming through from both Doobie and XE, while Leggy just holds the angle with the AWP. So Sinister5 have now been boxed in. They have to commit to this long play.
Lately's considering it.
Yeah.
Or is he? Or okay, no, I think he was just looking at it for a second. But Zerotron's going to molly the second box on the bomb site as the hit does come in. Legley with a well-placed nade could do well against these low HP players. Lately tagged down to 12 points of health, but now they have a double flank coming in. Elusive is going to come watch it, and that flash comes in. Doobie gets taken down, but EXE is allowed to take that battle. Elusive does take it full blind, and now it's Leggy and EXE left in a 2v3 retake. Elusive's going to push the issue towards short and catch Leggy, and now it's EXE left in a 1v3, and he's just going to choose to save the AK-47.
Oh no, not like this, Nick. This can't be how it unfolds. This can't be how the drama plays out. Royalty looked set that they would be taking this to a 3rd map. They were ahead. They had that 13-12 scoreline in the bag on the buy round, but it's unraveled. And now Sinister5 are going to be pulling ahead once again. Their T side has been on point tonight, Nick. Whether it was on Overpass or on Dust 2, the communication's been on. Everybody's pitched up. Everybody's chipped in. Everybody's doing what they need. Nobody's lagging behind or costing the team right now. And you can see that in the kill distribution. I mean, just look at it on the left-hand side. It's a fairly even kill distribution. Yeah, Zero Chance is lagging behind a bit, but he had a standout CT side. And now everybody else is bringing the heat on the T side. Elusive leading the charge with 23 kills. The top of the server. Leggy has 21 as well, though, so he's doing a great job with that AWP, in particular on the CT side. But the job needs to be done here. Royalty full investing once again. No money left in the bank. Yeah, they've got some round loss bonus behind them, but if it gets to 15-13, it's tournament or it's match point for Sinister5. And look at how they're just moving around as a unit here. Just all 5 players pushing towards middle this time. They've pretty much just been moving like this through the entire half so far. And now they're going towards middle, looking to try and isolate or overwhelm any CTs who might be there. There's going to be a peek from Doobie towards the window. He's able to spray down one. There's going to be some more aggression coming through, but Royalty are actually able to shut them down before they get towards the bomb site. Now it's Lately left by himself.
A great B hold there. As soon as you see that the B split is coming in, they didn't actually have a pincer from the upper B area, but perfect. What Royalty did there was perfect, right? They knew that they were coming up from bottom middle towards window and door respectively, so they choose to pick those fights together. If someone does come up uppers, they're fighting the guys outside anyway. So the flashes come in and they fight together, do EXE and Doobie, and they really chime in for a couple frags. EXE gets 2 in the round, and Doobie gets 1, and Lady's just going to try save this AK up. Where does that smoke go?
Is that like I think mid door smoke?
It's a mid to B smoke.
Okay, nice.
That's very cool.
Trying to cross
but
now,
Leggy
but,
knows.
yeah.
Leggy knows.
Had the full read on lockdown the whole time. Nick, just something I'd like to let all our viewers know in case they haven't got the news. Tomorrow night, we're going to be streaming Dynamic versus Goliath Gaming in the upper bracket. And it is bound to be a cracker. Whoever wins that game is going to be qualifying for Comic-Con Online. It is a massive match tomorrow night at 8 PM, guys. So make sure you join us there once again. Just wanted to get that word in to make sure that everyone was aware. Because I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Times.
And the loser of that game plays against the winner of this game the night after. So lots of intense matches lined up over the next few evenings.
Yo, look at the Sin5. They've just walked out long here.
Yeah, they haven't actually given much information out about this, and you can see that there is a player that's God's Not Dead. He's in CT watching the cross, but they've gotten so far forward that they're just going to drop the smokes on the go, and they're going to be pushing all the way onto the bomb site. Royalty have very little time to respond to this. Really nice adaptation here by Sinister5, just realizing the opportunity that presented itself and grabbing it with both hands, not second-guessing themselves. Lately, channeling his inner rat as he just sits towards the top of middle, patiently waiting. Will be able to put them in the grave. He'll go down here to Doobie, I'm sure, on the angle. He's not going to be expecting 2 players to come from T-spawn, but he's already done his job. He's bought so much time in. And even though the frag eventually comes through, do Royalty go for this? It seems like they're deciding against it. Sinister5 get themselves on match point, Nick. Royalty have to win their round to keep themselves alive here in the Telkom VS Gaming Master Season 5.
They have to play through OT, and I know they're going to be confident enough to do so. I mean, this is their map pick. They know they can't be dropping it, obviously, as the loser of this next round. If it is Royalty, they're going home to a 16-14 loss to Sinister5, and coming off a 2-0 victory against them in the groups, and that being on a 16-8 victory against Sinister5 and Dust 2, we've seen that Sinister5 have been putting in the work. Their T side this evening has been looking phenomenal on Overpass as well as Dust 2, right? We've seen Zero Chance being an absolute beast in the entry on Overpass B sites, and the same can be said about the rest of the team on Dust 2. All of them are really pulling the weight, as you alluded to prior.
Yeah.
No one's really lagging behind. I mean, Zero Chance, as you said, he's a bit lagging behind on the T side, but he had a banger CT side.
Yeah.
So Sinister5, they just seem to have shown up on the server tonight, and if they do win this round, they have been more than worthy winners. But Royalty, they definitely don't want that to be the case. They don't want to be going home. They want to ensure that they have a chance at fighting for their life through the low bracket. But once again, Sinister5, they're really falling back on this late long take, which I'm a massive fan of.
But Royalty, they have the pieces in position to try and deal with the late long take, but God's Not Dead goes down, so does Donkey. Oh no, it's completely fallen apart at the seams. They had the setup in play to try and deal with the aggression, but now they've been taken down, and I'm on a dead body for some reason. Not like this, Auto Director.
Elusive. His knife. 5v3. He's going to molly off the flank and 2 players over towards short, but entertaining them is lately. But Doobie wins out the frag, and now it is a 4v3 retake instead of the aforementioned 3v5. So molly dropped over towards short, and all 3 CTs over towards that position. So that's going to buy them roughly 7 seconds of time, do Elusive and the boys. But smoke towards that also buys them 18 seconds, and another molly possibly to drop behind it. Should come in. A flash allows Doobie to push ahead, but he's going to have to push to the molly, and Slayer catches him out, and Deviant gets one, and Leggy falls to the flames, and GG for Sinister5. They win out the series 16-14 and ultimately 2-0 victories, and they're able to keep themselves alive in the tournament and book themselves the top 6 spot in the Telkom Gaming VS Masters Season 5.
What a turn of events. What a fantastic display of Counter-Strike we had this evening from both of these teams. Commiserations to Royalty as they get eliminated. They had a great display. They had their chances. They showed that what they were capable of. We saw all that potential on the server last night, and we saw it predominantly on Dust 2 as well. But man, we got to give mad props to Sinister5 for the performance that they pulled out of the bag this evening. They were just hitting their shots from the word go on Overpass. They had a clear, concise plan, and everybody stayed true to it. Looked really well oiled, and yeah, just impressive across the board from Sinister5. Really good stuff to turn around from that 2-0 loss in the group stage, come and win 2-0 here tonight when it matters the most. It's a really good look, and it's going to be giving them a lot of confidence heading into the next stage of this competition.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Sinister5, obviously they didn't take what happened in groups 2 personally. They just came out banging on this. I said I had no doubt they were going to win Overpass, absolutely convincing winners, 16-5.
Yeah.
And that comes down just to the players in the server, right? I mean, we saw Zero Chance on B, pretty much just running into the bomb side, shooting heads, popping heads, playing deathmatch. And then on Dust 2, they really showed up and ultimately winning out the series 16-14 and 2-0 victors out in the end, and they claim a spot against the loser of Goliath against Dynamic, which we played tomorrow night, and they'll be playing once again on Sunday night.
Nick, just something I wanted to say before all that action started to play out in that 30th round earlier. That's one of the things I love the most about Counter-Strike, is that like you can play hundreds of rounds in MM and Facets and Pugs and Scrims, and then like all of a sudden in the game you're faced with this one round where your whole tournament life lies on the line on that one round. It's the same as every other round that you've played before that, but this round just has way more meaning to it and has a much bigger effect on your team's future. So like, that's one of the things I love about CS. We just get these moments where it's like, okay, this round right here determines this team's lives for the rest of the event. And it just shows like it separates the men from the boys, the teams that can actually deal with that pressure. So with that being said, something I wanted to get out, I've got something interesting in store. I hope that everybody stuck around for a bit, because we have an interview from one of the players in the winning team. His name is Lately. He's joined us in the Discord server. Welcome, you Victor. You're in the top. You're in the top 6. We're doing good, especially after the display that you guys had this evening. How are you feeling, man, after that win?
Feeling very good. Feeling very nice after that one. It's always nice to put up a 2-0, especially against the team that we dropped to last time we played them.
Yeah.
On Dust 2 specifically, they kind of destroyed us last time we played them, so it felt really good putting up a solid performance, not making a lot of mistakes, getting in a good headspace for them.
Yeah, I mean, let's go start all the way back. You know, on map 1, Overpass, your guys' map pick, a map that we didn't see in the series between the two of you in the group stage. Overpass is your guys' bread and butter, though. I mean, it's no secret in the local scene at this point. I was saying in the cast that Elusive is a genius on the map as well. You guys feeling really comfortable on Overpass?
Oh yeah, we feeling super comfortable and confident on Overpass at the moment. Like everything just goes our way there, it seems.
Yeah.
And especially behind Elusive's calling, he just reads other teams like an absolute book on there. In his own words, his ice didn't even melt in his brandy before the map was over.
I mean, one thing I wanted to ask, right, is you guys seem to pretty much on the T side. It seems like every round you went B. I know not every round you went B, but you seem to really fall back on that B side. So and Zero Chance's entry seemed to be on point. So I wanted to ask, like, if Zero Chance is really feeling his aim and you guys are really feeling your B execs, does Elusive just say like, listen, James, just run out B, pop some heads, and then you won them up 16-5?
It's almost something like that. If he starts spotting that we're not struggling taking B, he essentially tells us just throw your early util, do your due diligence, and then just start walking. Like start walking through monster. So we ended up just hitting that a lot, doing some executes from short, and they just went our way. Like you said, zero chance was just popping heads on T side. There's nothing stopping him when he's clapping, bro.
Yeah, and like there was one round where there was probably about like 30 seconds, 25 seconds left on the clock, and Roti even dropped the smoke towards shorts, and then you guys were like, listen, we still got to go B, and then you still won the round. And I think you may have even been a man down in that scenario. So I mean, just like the B execs seem to be on points.
Yes, no, definitely. They're quite polished at the moment. That could have definitely backfired. It did backfire one round where they did drop a smoke, and we just ended up getting mowed. But that's the nature of overpass, right? It's not a T-sided map. You're gonna get mowed down every once in a while, especially when hitting B.
Yeah, like those narrow choke points can be very tough to get through sometimes. Just moving on to Dust 2 now. You guys had a fairly like back and forth early start to the map, but then when you guys got on the T side and you started to find your footing again, you were keeping it really simple, like just like literally 4-1s, whether you were doing a late long take or pushing up short. You guys, is that like the game plan in the early stages, is just to move around the map as a unit, and then if that doesn't work, go back to the defaults and play a little bit more like, basic, just laid back CS?
Yeah, we've been trying to just keep it simple, stupid, especially on Dash 2. If you're splitting up, you're going to get picked off by the AWPers. If you're playing 4-man together, it tends to just, flow. Especially when we're feeling ourselves. Tonight, especially, we were feeling our teamwork a lot. Like, gents were flashing for each other, peeking together, peeking off calls. It was, it just worked perfectly for that playstyle we were going for tonight.
And one thing I did want to ask is, obviously on the T side of Dusty, you guys really came into your own, obviously 9-6 down, and then you lost pistol actually, so you find yourself 11-6, and then you started mounting the comeback. One thing I did see you guys do is at the start of the T side, you started trying to take long, but then you started losing the fights, found yourself in a lot of 3v3s or 4v3s in that scenario. But then later on in the half, you just started going for these late long execs with like 3 or 4 people waiting along doors, a flash through, and that just seemed to work wonders. Is that like an adaptation that Elusive called? I didn't see you guys hit B often. Obviously on the ecos you did, but that late long take seemed to have really been polished, like that you guys really had on under lock and key to take long control.
Yes, it's definitely a read we picked up on later into the half, into the second half, and I think it actually came from Richard from Deviant. He ended up saying, "Listen, guys, they're leaving one maybe 2 guys late long. It shouldn't be too hard for us to just bunch up, get some flashes through, and just take it away from them. Go take short control, leave one player there, and then just go back to long and pincer them onto the A side." And it ended up working beautifully.
And that was playing into your guys' strengths as well, because you were looking to make those moves around the map as a unit, so then you just grouped up as 4 with the pop flash and pushed through long. That was really nice. And you just mentioned how Deviant made that read and contributed that to the conversation. With the likes of Deviant, Elusive, and Zero Chance, you got a trio of, like, you could almost say 3 of South Africa's most experienced players, literally. What's it like, playing amongst those 3 guys who have just committed so much of their lives to the game? They've done it all. They've traveled internationally. They've seen everything that there is to see from a South African point of view. Here you are, in the infancy of your career potentially, and you're playing alongside these guys. That must mean a lot to you.
It definitely does. I'm busy sitting here smiling ear to ear because every time I play with them, it feels like I'm being taken to school again. Like, you're learning every day. There's something new almost every day. Like, just the experience that comes from them. And Elusive especially has had like a massive impact, I think, on my personal play style and how I've developed in the last month or so as a player since joining Sinister5. He would give me like weekly recaps on what he thinks I should be adjusting, or what he give me really good feedback on how I'm playing, how he thinks it'll benefit the team, what I should focus on, what the problem areas are for me, and that's just been absolutely amazing. It's like having a personal coach giving me like a weekly feedback, so I can just focus on those things and going into the next matches.
Yeah, lately I'm so glad to hear that you recognize what a gold mine of an opportunity this is for you, because I think it actually probably would go over the head of a lot of people. And you're right. I mean, the fact that you have a chance to play with one of South Africa's most decorated players of all time, and he's giving you all this feedback, and you're just applying it to your game. That's music to my ears, man. And that's exactly what I was hoping would come from Elusive, getting back into a South African team again after playing for Bravado in America. was for him to like feed the players that are on the grassroots and coming up, contribute to their developments. So that's really good to hear, man. I mean, one more thing I wanted to ask, just talking about the T sides again, just in general. Elusive seems to be quite a heavily mid-round, dependent caller. He makes a lot of decisions based on the information that's being fed through. Is that something that you guys rely on quite heavily on your T side, as being open to changing the setup as things go on?
Yes, definitely. Like it depends on the info we find, the picks we find, what we probably end up doing. I can't see the inner workings, the cogs that go on in his head, but he can make some ridiculous reads off of info I didn't even know existed. So
yeah,
but he does. We have a few like spawn-based things that we do, but not that many. Yeah, I think you guys can probably notice that we get our map control, do our due diligence, and then it'll all come from the genius mind of Ruan.
I mean, that was literally the name of the game on Overpass. You guys were just literally defaulting out of spawn and then like finding your picks and making decisions off of that.
Yeah, let them make the mistakes.
Nice. Nick?
I mean, there was one round. I just got one more question. Sorry, Hayes.
No, definitely.
Go for it, please.
Like, you speak about Elusive's mid-round calling, and I think it was round 28 or 29 when it was either 14-14 or 15-14, and I just saw all of you just walking out long. Like, I was thinking, like, what are these oaks doing? But it was the right read at the end of the day, and then you won the round. So, I mean, it, like, works perfectly.
Yeah.
So that definitely attributes to his experience.
Yeah, definitely. That just came off of what info they gave us in long. We didn't expect them to be holding it strong with what they gave us across the rest of the map. I think we had info towards short, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Might not have. But otherwise, we somewhere got some info on reading just walking out long.
Mad respect.
Yeah, the man's got some balls on his calling.
All right, just one more thing from my side lately while we got you here. You, after winning that game, of course, you progressed to the next round in the lower bracket here, which is round 4. The team you're playing against will be decided after tomorrow's match between Goliath Gaming and Dynamic. Now, obviously, the favorite in that game is Goliath Gaming, which means there's a pretty good chance Dynamic lose that game, drop down to the lower bracket, which means we're going to have another Sinister5 versus Dynamic game. And now, like, I need to get a few words from you on that match, because I know it means a lot to you, obviously.
Yeah, I feel it's fair to say there's a pretty good chance we're playing Dynamic again, but I will obviously be rooting for the boys versus Goliath. No hate against Goliath, but I did spend like the better part of a year playing with the core from Dynamic, so I'll definitely be cheering for them in that game. I hope they win. If they don't, I'll have to pull out the Rat Redemption and come and beat them again.
You'll be clapping on the server versus them on the 13th, eh? So
yeah,
the Rat hiding in top middle.
The Rat hiding in top middle.
Because I mean,
if we play them, it's just another chance to like showcase skills against each other. I love playing against them. It's always good Counter-Strike. They play really well. They're busy playing really well at the moment. So beating them at the moment would be a very nice pat on the back for us, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I actually see you playing some of your best CS when you're playing against Dynamic, and the couple occasions I've already casted that rivalry. And on social media, you guys sometimes, you do have a bit of, like, cheekiness between you, but there's definitely there's, like, that good friendship. And that's what I love, is, like, too often people get caught up in, like, the logistics of roster changes, and they, like, get super salty and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that, you guys had a great 18-month run together. You guys are clearly all really good friends, and the relationship has stayed really positive, which I'm really happy to see.
With that bit of banter on Twitter, we send our tweets back and forth. I instantly messaged him on Steam, and I'm like, people think we're beefing, bro.
Yeah.
Do it more. Do it more. It's gonna bring viewers.
Yeah, like my favorite was that tweet on my tweet that I sent out where you were, you're saying, I can't even remember what you said, and then Nexus came in with the.
Yeah, I'll tip the odds myself.
Oh
yeah, Nexus gives it a good clap back.
Sorry to let you know, yeah, sort of thing. Anyway, all right, well, that's great to hear, and it's awesome. It's wholesome. I'll use that word. It's really wholesome. Nick, before we let Lately go, any final words from your side for him?
I'm just saying I back you guys against the loser of whatever Goliath against Dynamic. That's all I'm saying. The winner of that goes top 4
He didn't back you tonight, Lately, just by the way. I'm going to let you know.
But tonight he's got bias. It's okay.
Sorry, Nick, I'm outing you.
More royalties top 4. So,
no, it's fine. It's fine.
It is what it is.
All
the best for Sunday. And I mean, I know you guys have got what it takes, and definitely be in the top 4 conversation. And I know Elusive is definitely backing you boys, definitely keeping under his wing. And I'm
Yeah.
sure Simon and yourself are definitely soaking all the information up like a sponge. So all the best for Sunday
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, well,
Thank
that's
you so
it.
much, gents.
Lately, one more game away from reaching top 4. You guys have come a long way throughout the 3 legs, and I wish you guys all the best as well. Congratulations for reaching top 6 at the bare minimum, but I know you guys aren't done just yet, and keep giving it a your all, man.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the
Only a
cast as well.
pleasure. Lacquer, man. We'll see you around, bro.
Cheers, gents.
Cheers, man. Ah, what a wholesome guy, seriously. Lately is a real gent and a real gentleman and scholar, and it's good to hear a few words from his side as well. So, Nick, it's been a pleasure. I mean, I feel I'm not feeling tired enough. I'm not feeling like I've had to, twist the towel to get every last drop of energy that I've got for the game. I mean, I'm still beaming here. The cup of coffee is still in my system, but it was just a fairly quick 2-0 in the end. Sinister5 progress at the expense of Royalty. And that's our first team, or one of the other teams, now to the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, all props to Sinister5. I mean, on Overpass they played absolutely phenomenal Counter-Strike. On Dust 2, they didn't let the 5-round deficit take them back. They literally just fought it out, and I think lately alluded to it perfectly. They're just elusive. His experience in the server, his mid-round calls were pretty much to perfection. They were to a T. The T side on Dust 2, there were little to, if any, mistakes in that regard. So I mean, massive props to Sinister5, the 5 players that were in the server, and Luco to Royalty. I mean, there's always next year. Top 8 is definitely a good place to start for them. I mean, they were one of the teams they are one of the up and comers. So 100% and Luco to Royalty, they definitely got next year to prove themselves in other tournaments that are coming up in the near future. But 100% back Sinister5 to possibly make it into that top 4 against the loser of Goliath against Dynamic. I think they're definitely one of those rosters where they're the sleepers. Everyone thinks, oh no, they've got 3 bullies in the roster. They don't prac enough.
You should just call Elusive a bully.
Listen. He called himself a bully. I don't call him a bully. But I just know that people sleep on Sinister5, and I think they're up there for the top 4. So.
I agree with you completely. I mean, hey, it's the only team to have taken a map off of ATK in quite some time, and to even beat them in an official in quite some time. So make sure that you don't take Sinister5 too lightly, guys. But with that, Nick, it's been a great evening with you, my guy. I'm going to give you a last chance to say a few words and tell the people what they need to do.
You guys need to follow myself and Hayes on Twitter. It's standard procedure.
It's
at Hayes
standard.
Castings and at Hayes Nick at Hayes Nick Bart. At Hayes Castings and at Nick Bart to keep up to date. We will be live again tomorrow night. That will be for the upper bracket. That will be for the juice. So I believe it is Goliath against the NMK. I'm pretty sure that is
100%.
pretty confirmed.
It's set in stone.
It's
done.
confirmed. So tune in for tomorrow night. It's Goliath against Dynamic. Loser plays the winner of tonight, which was Sinister5. So tune in tomorrow night. Make sure you hit that heart button. Make it a wholesome heart. Make it full to keep up to date with the Telkom VS Gaming Masters action. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow night.
That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you all. Like Nick said, same place, same time. I'm going to have some fresh interviews for tomorrow night as well. You're not going to want to miss what these guys have to say about their games coming up. My name is Hayes. I've been joined by Nick. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.